Cool Figure TV. Revolutionary salute. Revolutionary salute. Like, share, subscribe. Welcome to the House of Revolution. You know I'm your humble host, the Yao Mean of Revolution and Freak Offs. Freak Offs as Fox Sports 1. It's bigger than P. Diddy. Man, before we get into that, be sure to wipe your feet. That means hit the like button. Like, share, subscribe, support the platform, y'all. Now, we're going to have to deal with the gossip and the salacious slander, and we're going to dip in this type of entertainment tonight. You know, I'm going to put the word, roll up that good dinner, man. That's what I'm doing right now. We're going to put World War III to the side just for a second, y'all. I want y'all to back up from the edge of World War III just for one little day. And let's see what the hell is going on. Pimping, pandering, freakos, you know, powerful white men using women as they playthings. That's been going on a long time. But cocaine involved? We thought P. Diddy was the only person doing this. Hell no. He learned it from these disgusting punks. But we have powerful young women in the entertainment business setting people up and saying, if they ever come at me, I'm going to yell, me too. Disgusting. Skip Bayless? Oh my goodness, 1.5 million for some kitty cat? What? Is that the golden goose? Let's get into that, y'all. Salute, Queen. Let's see, what are you talking about, Kofi?
I'm sorry. Your girlfriend has nothing to worry about. I do not want you. I was literally just being a normal person. I'll be sure to be a bitch next time.
That big rack of hers that she showed off constantly. That peanut butter skin with that big rack.
We got all... I mean, two cities have a blonde.
Kylie say two titties. I mean, two cities. That's disgusting, bro. Motherfucker trying to talk football. That lady should not be coming out there putting her titties in every man's face. We trying to talk sports. But what this going to show you is what's been going on the whole goddamn time. This is ridiculous, man. We trying to talk sports. You coming on here scantily clad, naked. So what are y'all doing looking at me? All right, now, let me stop and let this stuff play.
Two cities have glommed.
My turn! You told me it was my turn.
The Fox Sports lawsuit contains allegations of infidelity, SA, and salacious stories that, if true, could end the career and marriages of powerful individuals in sports media. It's important to note that these are just still allegations. However, for clarity, we're going to tell the story from the perspective of the accuser and her 42-page lawsuit, which Fox Sports executive producer Charlie Dixon, Joy Taylor, and Skip Bayless are the defendants. Farah G started working full-time as a hairstylist for Fox Sports in 2016. As a hairstylist, she had friendships with on-air talent, and they seemed to pour their heart out to her during their sessions. This is common with hairstylists and barbers, where it can sometimes feel like a therapy session as they ask questions about your life and your day-to-day. Nushin would go out for drinks often with the now defendants in her lawsuit and hear them gossip about the behind-the-scenes culture in Fox Sports. The first shocking allegation in Nushin's lawsuit was that the executive producer of Fox Sports, Charlie Dixon, gave the co-hosting role for Undisputed with...
Now, let's start right there. This is disgusting. He definitely going down. But as we look into this case, he tried to pimp her off onto Skip Bayless for her to even get the damn job, nigga. When they tell a story about how she got the job on Undisputed, I mean, it's plenty of women play the games, but we got to all bring it out now. It's plenty of women play the game, men play the game, but we putting all that shit on the table. He pimped her out and told her to wear something real revealing to get Skip to go along with it. That's outrageously crazy, and he's going to have to pay for that.
Skip Bayless and Shannon Sharp, who Joy Taylor as a reward for having sex with him. There was a lot of buzz about the show before it was launched.
Because Joy Taylor, she's not getting away from this. Her career is done, down the drain, flushing it down the motherfucking drain. This motherfucker had the nerve to be sadistic and arrogant and look down on men, especially black men, act like you wasn't worthy of her. You ain't no model. You don't got no six-pack. You don't play ball. Well, neither does this goddamn guy. We look at this troll-looking white guy right here who was running through her and pimping her off on people. Neither does he. You see, all that arrogance. This lady wasn't doing nothing but a high-paid prostitute. That's it. Salute, family. High-paid prostitute, bro. You can hit for paper. You know, that's disgusting. Because all we want to do is watch sports. The lady putting titties and ass all in people's face, thinking it's a game. There ain't no game, and now we know how she rolls up the goddamn ladder. I hope this lady don't do nothing to herself. But look at this goddamn clown right here. Well, she was just head over heels for. No, you wouldn't. You're doing anything to make it in the motherfucking game. And then look down on black men and talk down on black men. Look at who your dream lover was. And he pimped her. He pimped her. He tried to pimp her to Skip Bayless. Skip didn't want her. That's the fact.
Joy Taylor as a reward for having sex with him. There was a lot of buzz about this show before it was launched, and around this time in 2016, Joy Taylor was unknown and just a bartender / radio host that was getting her first experience at Fox Sports. This lawsuit goes a step forward and says that Skip Bayless wanted to keep Joy Taylor off the show because of her inexperience, but Bayless ultimately dealt with her being on as a favor to executive producer Charlie Dixon. Keep in mind, both Joy Taylor and Charlie Dixon were married around this time in 2016. This favor to Dixon by Joy.
Because this is gonna be long and painful for her and these perverts up there, FS1. It's gonna be long and painful for her motherfucking ass. How she been talking real grimy and greasy. Come on, man.
This time
come
in
on.
2000.
Come on. This is her lover, nigga. This her lover. I don't want to ever hear her disrespect another motherfucking black man. This your lover. Huh? This was her lover who was pimping her out, having her doing strange things. When anybody here felt like he tried to pimp her off on Skip. Skip didn't want her. He told her to let her titties be all out when we gonna meet Skip.
2016. This favor to Dixon by Joy actually ruined two of her relationships. The first was in 2016. She was married to baseball player Richard Giannotti. But according to this lawsuit, he eventually divorced her when he suspected that her and Dixon were sleeping together. Nushin claims to be at the dinner when Giannotti started to get suspicious. In 2018, Joy Taylor was married to former NBA point guard and head coach Earl Watson. This lawsuit claims he found out about the favors Joy was doing to Dixon to stay on high-profile shows, and he sought to break the marriage off. According to Fada G, in this lawsuit, Dixon paid off Coach Watson, who threatened to go to the public with this information. The internet has been roasting Joy Taylor for sleeping with somebody who looks like Michael Dixon, but as we go deeper into this lawsuit, you will learn that this was part of the culture at Fox Sports, and there is something more toxic going on behind the scenes. In 2020, according to the hairstylist Nushin, Joy used a similar tactic to get on another high-profile show. An upcoming show, Speak, hosted by Emmanuel Acho, was set to debut on Fox Sports. Nushin claims that she saw Joy Taylor with Emmanuel Acho several times.
Now, what's going to be so disgusting about the conversation these two clowns was having? Both of them use black as a way. Now, listen, the ESPN, FS1, they hiring these two people for their black, because they have to have a black person on the roster, right? Joy never identifies no black person until it was time to fill out that motherfucker application. They said, okay, well, she's black. And Ancho gave up the game when he kept saying, a black lady? And what type of scam is y'all running? You know, this is a Nigerian black man, but we know that he's Nigerian, and we know that he has a problem with us. You know, we own him and his cooning and buffooning and his tap dancing. So this clown here even made her sleep with him to get on his motherfucking show. He should be fired immediately. And then had the nerve to tell us she earned it because she was so smart and so intelligent. What a fucking scam.
And Joy eventually admitted to her that she was sleeping with Emmanuel Acho in order to get on his new show, Speak. Obviously, as most sports fans know, she would eventually get that role as the co-host on Speak. But because Nushin is claiming that Emmanuel Acho and Joy Taylor were smashing for a period of time, the internet is roasting the two by bringing up some old receipts.
Take a moment to shout out my co-host, Joy Taylor.
This is crazy.
A woman, a black woman, daily show, sports.
A black woman. That pissed me off, bro. That pissed me off. That lady do not identify as no goddamn black woman. Which I ain't tripping. You meant you don't have to. But it wasn't time to be black till it's time to get that extra bonus for being a minority. You know, run that Kamala Harris bullshit on us, and he know it. You see, that pissed me off. He said it because he know I'm gonna say she black, you know, because that's gonna help her. She's a strong, independent black woman, a smart black woman. He just came out of the house hitting her to get the job. This is crazy. And he erased this video. And he keeps smelling his hand as a joke to y'all. He been playing in that lady cat, then came made this video as just laughing at the whole world.
Do you all realize how hard it is to get into the position that she is in? So often there's misogyny and sexism running rampant in sports, and we don't even care what...
He should be fired right there. So often there's misogyny and sexism. You just made that lady sleep with you, bitch, to get a motherfucking job, nigga. You just made that lady sleep with you, and Joy gave the game up because she told the girl, yes, I'm sleeping with him to get that job. Ooh. So they weren't tripping. He knowing you gonna get this job by fucking me, and she knowing I'm gonna fuck you and I'm gonna get the pay right. That's crazy.
Women have to say in sports. I do not know anyone that is more impressive in every way, shape, or form than the one and only Joy Taylor, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you to the sponsor of today's video, Underdog, where you can win money on sports. Underdog is the fastest growing fantasy app in the industry. I especially love playing their pick. Herself, a friend of Joy Taylor and her hairstylist at this time, said that she warned Taylor that Dixon could get jealous of her sleeping with Emmanuel Ancho, but Joy explained that she has a plan to say that Dixon forced himself on her and basically Me Too him. Some people have said that Joy
fired. She needs to be she needs to be banned. She need to be blackballed. People need to block this lady for saying that. I don't even know why they let that lady come back on the boat, because she got that pervert white guy. Nigga, that's just one of the most. She probably all the bosses on a board. She got wrapped around her motherfucking finger, and she bold. She told that lady, "I will scream Me Too and rape and say he sexually assaulted. He forced me. If he ever play with me like he did them other girls." That's crazy that Joy said that.
Joy Taylor is basically claiming that she was going to lie about their relationship in order to force him out of a job. But a key detail in this lawsuit by Nushin is that Charlie Dixon did force a lot of women out of a job because they allegedly refused his advances. And Joy Taylor did not want to be another victim of Charlie Dixon. Because if Nushin's allegations are true, then no one should feel sympathy for Charlie Dixon. His allegations, out of all the people that we're going to talk about, are by far the worst. And I think he's the main culprit in this lawsuit. Nushin claims in her lawsuit that an anonymous host at Fox Sports was essentially fired for refusing to sleep with Dixon. Dixon said he would not renew her expiring contract because she refused. The anonymous host also claimed that Dixon was doing this to other female hosts at Fox Sports. Nushin claims that Dixon, while he was drunk off tequila at a party, grabbed her buttocks. Nushin tried to vent about this to Joy Taylor, and Joy Taylor told her to get over it and warned that Dixon has the power to take away both of their jobs. Joy Taylor also told Farah G that no one gives a F about Dixon laying off women TV hosts at Fox Sports. If this is all true, Taylor clearly felt coerced by Dixon, but was cynical about the sports media industry. Taylor seems aware of the corruption at the top at Fox Sports, but accepts that it will never.
This lady never supposed to be on no motherfucking Undisputed. This lady was never supposed to be on no goddamn TV talking no sports. That was the bullshit to begin with. Now it's all coming out. Her attitude. She wouldn't do anything to get on that motherfucking TV camera. Don't know what the fuck she's talking about. Just saying shit. Then she gonna get on there and steady trying to put her breast in people's motherfucking face. That's ridiculous, man. And a bunch of married men, they gotta go to work, and here she is. She married too, but she don't give a fuck. She don't care. Then go back and watch it. Listen to her Instagram until that she disrespect black men, especially black men, but broke men. All because she can suck off them troll face, clowns up there, and she don't care. She don't have no morals, and then lie and say how hard it was and how she earned it. Well, if you flat backing your way to the top, and you talking about earned it like that, but you didn't go take no media courses, no media training, none of that motherfucking shit.
never change, which is likely why she acquiesced and slept with key figures for personal gain. The lawsuit also alleges that Dixon set up a female host on a failing show just to justify firing her after she made reports of harassment. Nushin in the lawsuit claims that a man named Mr. Diaz, who works in audio, openly harasses and gropes women at work, but never faces discipline because he supplies coke to Fox employees.
It's been the American way. This been but I would say this is a power thing. Powerful, because women do the same thing in positions. I done been sexually harassed by a powerful woman, all that shit. Women do the same shit if they're empowered to, but it's not about them. We're seeing how disgusting Joy was, manipulative and conniving, but then we see where P. Diddy get his disgust. See, he been around these type of perverts where you just throw your money around. You make these women do anything. They don't do what you say. You get rid of them. You're cold-hearted. Man, it's going to be a bunch of lawsuits everywhere because this what the fuck been going on. And then we sit here and watch a sports show or show, and then you see this woman on TV, don't really know what she's talking about. No disrespect. Don't know what the hell she's talking about. Her titties are out. Now, they're like, oh, man, this lady got on here for that. That's disgusting, and that's not right. That's not fucking right. You talking about they done took a job from somebody who deserved it. Why the fuck are they up there? Because some executive using the company money to trick off on these motherfucking people. It's not even their money. It's the company money.
And on-air talent. No wonder these hosts have so much energy for their heated sports debates. This lawsuit does feature a lot of
because that part was going to kill him. The coke dealer. She gave up the coke dealer. They got a coke dealer that worked there that sexually harassed Mr. Diaz. He's sexually harassing all these women, but they won't fire him because he bring them their coke.
And set up a female host on a failing show just to justify firing her after she made reports of harassment. Nushin in the lawsuit claims that a man named Mr. Diaz, who works in audio, openly harasses and gropes women at work, but never faces discipline because he supplies coke to Fox employees and on-air talent. No wonder these hosts have so much energy for their heated sports debates.
That lady say they got drugs on the premises and it's a coke dealer up there selling coke. Now, they not Pope. No, it's 8 balls, ounces, half ounces floating around. That man might go up there with a kilo and they can sell that bitch in a day or two up there, man. This shit they going down.
This lawsuit does feature a lot of creepy allegations towards the former undisputed host, Skip Bayless. According to Nushin, Skip Bayless was always friendly with her and eventually started giving lingering hugs, kissing her on the cheek, even though she claims she tried to make it clear that
Skip fell for the okie doke. Since he fucked off their money, this is for Skip fucking off the deal with Shannon. Somebody at FS1, one of them powerful white men, is sitting back and they're going to destroy his motherfucking life. Yep. Why? Because the girl also said that Skip, after she wouldn't fuck with him, finally got mad and said he don't give a shit. Go ahead and sue Charlie for what he's been doing. Oh yeah, sue Charlie? Okay. And then she sued his ass too.
That she was uncomfortable with it. Skip would also constantly bring up how her life could change if she accepted his advances. What is really bad is that she once vented to Skip Bayless that she thinks she may have ovarian cancer in an effort to get him to stop his advances and stop trying to hit on her. But instead, he went even further, started kissing her hands, and then did the most cringe thing ever, which is offer her $1.5 million to sleep with him. Keep in mind, Skip Bayless is rich, making like $7 to $8 million a year, but $1.5 million, that's a huge portion of his salary. Nushin
he was not going to give her his salary. He was going to offer her a cushy job paid for by the company. The 1.5 was going to come from the company. That's what they're not saying. Keep on for the get it like no $1.5 million. No, FS1 was going to give it to her if she just would sleep with Skip.
Claims she rejected Skip Bayless's offer and that a week later, after he made that offer, he made another advance at her and she said, "Skip, stop. You have a wife." And then he made a joke saying, "Aren't you Muslim? Doesn't your dad have 3 to 4 wives?" And then Nushin said her dad was dead and Skip Bayless knew he messed up there. What's interesting is as of late, Skip Bayless has featured his wife on his podcast as a guest. Maybe he knew this lawsuit was coming and he wanted to better his image before it hits, or perhaps his wife wife is unaware of these advances, and if so, Skip is going to have some explaining to do. A year later, in 2022, Skip accused Nusheen of sleeping with Shannon Sharp. Nusheen told Skip she has never...
You been fucking Shannon? You gonna fuck that nigga and not me. See, the racism came out. If Shannon could get it, I'm white. I'm white. God damn it, just look at me. Don't you know I'm white? I can change your life. What could that nigga Shannon do? That's why he started disrespecting Shannon, nigga. Huh.
Never slept with any member or employee at Fox, but Skip insisted that she was sleeping with Shannon Sharp and that he could tell due to their body language. Skip went on to tell Nusheen that he loves her and he's loved her for 6 years and that she's hurting him by doing this. While upset, he then suggested that Nusheen could lose her job if he stops requesting her as his hairstylist. Nusheen said
I'm glad she's suing, but she should have ran his motherfucking pocket. Excuse me, no, that ain't right, Cook. Stop it, revolutionary. This sucker, right? I love you. Why are you doing this to me? Man, she should have emptied that nigga bank account.
Like her job could end if she did not warm up to Skip Bayless's advances. Around the same time, Nusheen had a falling out with Joy Taylor, and Taylor began making offensive comments towards her in front of colleagues. In particular, she mocked her Persian accent and her inability to speak English that well. Joy Taylor eventually requested a different hairstylist, which caused Nusheen to be more dependent on Skip Bayless for work. The following year, in 2023, high members in Fox Sports Employee Relations Development Department began questioning Nusheen about her knowledge of Joy's relations with Dixon and also Emmanuel Acho. She denied knowing anything specific, but felt that she was being iced out of Fox Sports for knowing too much. Skip Bayless later learned that Nusheen and Sharp never slept together. According to her lawsuit, Bayless disclosed that Dixon wanted Nusheen fired because she knew too much and was talking. He also said that Dixon was the one who told him Shannon Sharp slept with Nusheen. Skip's job started to come into jeopardy because he continued to request Nusheen despite Dixon wanting to force her out as his hairstylist. The show Undisputed was eventually canceled in 2024, and Skip Bayless...
This fool fucked up a money printing machine, Undisputed, all because he couldn't get some nookie that he seen Shannon hugging. Shannon didn't even hit the lady. Shannon didn't even want her. But the Skip, nah, you ain't rub me like you rubbed Shannon. Nuh-uh, you didn't touch me like you touched Shannon. This is crazy.
Was fired from Fox Sports. This led to Nusheen getting her work hours drastically reduced and then fired as well. Skip Bayless vented to Nusheen when he was fired. She claims he said F Charlie Dixon and he told her to sue his ass. So Nusheen was out of a job and she thought about going public with all this information. She actually says in this lawsuit that she feared that Dixon would put a hit out on her if she did go public. It's important to mention that the lawsuit makes positive comments about Colin Cowherd, saying that while she worked on the herd, he was professional. So at least there's some good news coming out of this. The big question is, what happens next? Skip Bayless seems like he was already heading towards retirement after being ousted by Fox Sports, but his behavior in this lawsuit, if true, makes him too much of a liability to be hired by another network. However, as of late, he's been just making independent content. Based on this lawsuit, Joy Taylor was rude and unprofessional towards Nusheen, but she adapted to the dog-eat-dog culture of sports media and used her body to get ahead because it's unfortunately required for women in that industry at Fox Sports. Charlie Dixon, according to the lawsuit, created the culture of predatory behavior at Fox Sports. What Fox Sports female anchors have been required to sleep with Dixon in order to advance in their career? Who else besides the anonymous...
This is disgusting. This is disgusting. But that predatory punk. But nobody forced Joy to sleep with that man. She could have. Hell no, I'm not got enough. No way. No how. Not getting away with it.
This female anchor mentioned earlier was let go or did not have their contract extended because they refused to sleep with Dixon. If this lawsuit is true, and let's be clear, everything that has been said so far are allegations from Nusheen. But if it's true and more people come forward, expect the downfall of current executives at Fox Sports, in particular the executive producer mentioned in this lawsuit, Charlie Dixon.
Look at this motherfucker. Look at this motherfucker who the only reason he could ever in his life is get those type of women is because he was the executive at FS1. I ain't hate the player. I ain't mad at him. I'm not mad. He disgusting punk. But it just goes to show you what's really going on up there. at all of those places. They ain't hiring them. They giving them women no type of motherfucking job without this type of disgusting behavior. And then a lot of the women just going along with it, saying, hey, I got to do what I have to do to take care of me and my family. You know, this type of disgusting shit, they look at our face. Malika Andrews, she gonna get ousted too. Molly, she definitely got to go. They have not earned none of those positions in the way by going through the proper channels, bro. You know, media training and all that shit, bro. Hell no, we can't. This is why
Joy Taylor will probably go on hosting.
That's why we're here tonight, because these dudes that where P. Diddy learned to be a predatory punk like that. You know, the casting couch is alive and well, man. And Joy Taylor should be ashamed of her motherfucking self, nigga. How she been hating. Oh, she been doing a lot of hating. Salute Queen. Hating on black women, hating on black men acting uppity. Never once said she was black until her Ancho want to, you know, get some of that diversity money. You get extra for being a minority, you know. Crazy.
Why? You think I'm just out here just doing man charity work? Please stop. We don't date the same men, girl. Relax.
Huh?
That's all I'm saying.
You hear that? Relax. We don't date the same. When you see that ugly little troll that's been licking all over you and kissing all over you, and you've been calling dad, are you kill that ego, girl? That's over. That's over. Wipe that damn smile off your face. You've been talking down on too many sisters. You heard her? I don't want your man who could get. No, you want that other lady man. I seen his wife, and she. I'm not gonna disrespect the man. I see his wife. You wanted her man. You wanted her man, and he pimped you out, and you did all kind of nasty shit just to sit in front of the TV and talk sports. Girl, please, you ain't got no shame.
I've had it. I'm not flirting with your man. I promise you.
Just go out there and just be just a little raw. Like, let us peek a little bit into it.
Is it just me? Or is this so good I shouldn't have to fuck for free?
We're going to get some real sports talk now. No more of this strip show sports media. That's over, bro. That's over. No, keep your titties at home. We don't want all this. We trying to learn about the game, bro. That's serious motherfucking business, nigga. And too many motherfuckers, it's too many dudes out here that wife and getting harassed. You can't see your wife around these type of. You cannot, and that's why I be telling niggas like Slim Thug and them busters, quit talking to us about paper. All these talk, nigga, that is the sign of your master. I said that. When them niggas say, oh, nigga, the Bentley, the mansion, nigga, that's how your master keep taking the women. You don't have no morals, man. Make the money make the man. Don't play the game with the people who got the money printer. You can't win that game. They don't understand it, but now they see it. You know, you want to play this game to discuss the punks like this, nigga. I always have your motherfucking woman, nigga.
I'm sure.
And so here we go again. Welcome back to the Dark Times channel. And we got a good one today. We got to go ahead and open up. We got to talk about Joy Taylor, and we got to talk about Fox Sports and some of the stuff that's allegedly been going down. But before we get to that, I want to go ahead and play a quick clip of Joy Taylor talking about how she gets down and where her get down is. And this is going to give you a little bit of insight into the kind of person and the kind of personality of Joy Taylor, especially when it comes to relationships and dating.
Okay, so it's time to make this announcement. I have been choosing to not talk about this for quite some time, and the universe has forced this upon me.
Let's talk.
So I want to say to the men, to the women that have men, to the women who have friends that have men, I want you to know, I do not want you. I do not want your man. I do not want your friend's man. I can't say that slower and more clearly. Let me explain. If I'm speaking to you, human being, I'm doing just that. We are having a conversation. Most likely a very casual conversation that lacks depth. I am not, and I cannot stress this enough, I am not flirting with you. I am not flirting with your man. I am not flirting.
All y'all women, all this type of woman, and y'all niggas know, your woman will never leave you around with Jezebel like this, nigga. And there's a lot of women knew not to leave their husbands around Joy and not to let their husbands. You going to what? Fox Sports Party? I'm going to. All them dudes up there, shit. Joy gonna be there? Oh, hell no. Because they already knew. She don't give a shit about no marriage or nothing. They sit up here with that arrogance. I do not want your man. We seen that little ugly troll that turned you on. Who the fuck? Girl, please. You like anything with paper. So anything with paper, please, girl. Please.
Flirting with your friend's man. I'm not.
Money is your type.
I promise you, I'm not. This continues to happen to me where I will just be speaking to a person, to a man, and either he or his girl or his girl's friend will say something to me like, oh, well, I really need to get back to my girlfriend. She's going to be upset that I'm talking to you. Why would she be upset? Does she think people want you? Because that's crazy. She wants you, and good for her. Are you trying to imply that I'm talking to you because I want you? That's fucking crazy. And
that's crazy. That's crazy. You think I want you? Yeah, I seen that troll you. Yes, we think you want us. Hell yes. Yes. And the women, yes. We seen that ugly ass troll that turned you on and got you out here looking bad. We seen that little, what? Are you crazy? Yes, lady. Yes, Jezebel.
Keeps happening to me. And the next person that does it is going to get their feelings hurt. I can't tell you, it is the last straw for me. I am tired of you thinking that I'm flirting with you. I don't care about you. I don't care about your ugly ass man. I don't want your friend's man. Please
we gotta be ugly. We gotta be ugly.
Ugly, okay? Because why would I be flirting with you? Taylor, be serious. Ugly. I have a boundary in 2024. I do not have unserious conversations. Nobody wants you, sweetheart. Please stop. Look at you, look at me. Whatever.
Look at you and look at me. So that right there, she was getting away with that shit until the news came out. Now everybody's like, girl, please. Who are you fooling? You an actor. You should be in Hollywood, not up there not talking sports. Can you do this in a movie? Can you do this? Because you got what it takes, actor. Because we seen your type. Are you kidding me? We seen your fucking type, lady. Huh? And I know right now, your fucking DMs is jumping because all them ugly ass trolls know they got action now. Nigga, someone thought, oh no, she would never talk. Yes, she would. Nigga, she don't have a type. You got paper? You can get at her.
Here it is. Why?
For money.
Why? You think I'm just out here just doing man charity work? Please stop. We don't date the same men, girl. Relax. They not like us. Okay? Don't make me be mean to you. That's all I'm saying. I've had it. I'm not flirting with your man. I promise you.
Recently, media personality Joy Taylor of FS1 was speaking with co-host Taylor Rooks, the great Taylor Rooks, on their Too Personal podcast about what she wants in a man. And ladies and gentlemen, I must say, it was pretty interesting to hear. Take a look.
These hypotheticals have got us in a chokehold, and we must free ourselves. It's fun to argue about. It's fun to talk about what you would do in this scenario, or would you leave the game if the seats were high, or if a man took you this place on a first date, what you would do. And I'm telling you, like, every interaction that I have with people now, in some way or another, these things come up. Can we just keep it a buck? If they're fine enough, if they're funny enough, or if their financial status is what you want. Fine, funny, fucking money. You're throwing all boundaries, standards.
Lady, you don't have no fucking standards. Shalom. You don't have no standards? If they find hot, that's what people thought. Some people probably feel like, oh man, you gotta be a Tyson Beck, you gotta be an NFL running back, you gotta, be 6'7". Hell no. You see a little ugly troll she was in love with because he had that money? No, all you have to do is have money. And that's it. That's it. Ain't no other qualifications.
All that shit you talked on Instagram about how you would never, and this woman ain't kid because women this and men this, you're moving forward with this person.
See her whole hand exposed. She gotta come with a new playbook now. All these lies she been telling.
What you said was, correct me if I'm wrong. Let me read. I need my producers and my peeps in studio. What did she say? Funny. What were the three categories? Funny, fine, financial status. Last time I checked, she said, Joy Taylor, funny, okay, fine, fucking money. She didn't say money. There was a word that came before that. She said money and threw the F word in there before that. That F word before money counts.
And so absolutely it matters. For somebody like Joy Taylor, who is very articulate and she knows how to use her words and she knows what she's saying when she uses them, for somebody like that to emphasize the money part and throw the F word in front of it, she knows exactly what she was saying and she's telling you exactly what she's about. She's about the money, and that's why she's there.
But that operative word that Joy Taylor threw out there, allow me to educate y'all about something. If you're a man in a heterosexual relationship with a woman, and you can't make sure that that particular category is ironclad established, the fine, the funny, and in most cases, even the money won't matter. Because even with all of that, she don't look elsewhere.
Damn. Stephen A. Smith just broke down the game from a modern woman's perspective. And I'm not saying all modern women, but a lot of modern women feel and think this way. Some of them may not have the privilege or luxury of acting on it because they're not as attractive as a Joy Taylor, just to be honest. And so Joy Taylor is living out the modern day woman fantasy, being able to allegedly work her way to the top, AKA sleep her way to the top, allegedly. And that's what's being claimed in this lawsuit that's been brought to Fox Sports and brought on Ms. Joy Taylor herself. And not only is Joy Taylor being named in this lawsuit, but also Vice President of Fox Sports, Charlie Dixon, is also one of the defendants. And last but not least, your boy Skip Bayless.
Look, hold on, but she said fine. So that man right there, he fine her. You know, I can't judge him. The women in the audience, they gotta let us know. We heard her list. Fine. That lady said, you better be fine. You know what I mean, brother? She done turned her nose down on that time. He ain't fine. Calling other people, she just talking about other people, men. Well, I don't want your ugly man. That man belonged to that woman in that picture right there. That's, you want her man. You got to be fine to get me. You are a liar and will lie for a living, nigga.
Is also one of the defendants. And last but not least, your boy Skip Bayless. And before I get to Joy Taylor, let's go ahead and go through some of the allegations that's being levied against Skip Bayless. Ms. Faree is alleging that Skip Bayless made persistent, unwanted advances from 2000.
His jealousy for Shannon got him caught up in this shit, man. He thought Shannon was touching that lady and fucking that lady, so he went at that lady. His jealousy for Shannon, he thought Shannon was too play around now. His jealousy for Shannon got him caught up, man. He to be a sucker and a simp. But it's the other white guy who going all the way down. Skip is just a casualty of her lawsuit. That's for real.
And then 17 onwards, including lingering hugs, pressing against her body, and kissing her cheeks after haircuts. And so this is what's being alleged. And I believe it, because this kind of stuff goes on all the time. That's a Tuesday morning almost anywhere in corporate America, which is why corporate America has so many different lawsuits when it comes to workplace romances and things like that. But I digress. Let me go ahead and get to the rest of this lawsuit. It also claims that there was a financial proposition back in 2021 during a conversation about her health concerns.
Nate, before I come work for you,
yeah,
I need an advance. There's a little problem that I need to fix.
Oh, I can do that. Oh, yeah, I can do that. Sony knew, so gotta give me a reason to do that. You know what I mean?
I can see this happening. That's why I'm laughing. In my mind, I can see this whole scenario playing out. It says in 2021, during a conversation about her health concerns. Bayless allegedly offered Fareed $1.5 million to have you know what with him, which she declined. Damn. Let's go ahead and unpack that. We got to unpack that because I could see Skip Bayless being somewhat an opportunist. I could see a lot of men in that position being an opportunist. You have this attractive woman who's been styling your hair for the last 4 years. Y'all been very friendly. You've been giving her kisses on the cheeks. She hasn't said anything. You've been pressing up against her body, according to her. She hasn't said anything. You've been doing lingering hugs. She hasn't said anything. And so she comes to you talking about her health. Or
it take a lot to take the test that Skip offered her $1.5 million to sleep with him. And she said no. Because she said no, she Mother Teresa.
Her medical bills and whatnot. And Skip is like, hey, I got 1.5 of those things. I got a bag for you. All your health concerns, all your financial concerns, they can be forgotten just like that. Snap of a finger. I can change your life. But she said no. She declined. She turned it down. And that's interesting in and of itself because we're talking about a married woman here, Miss Fareed. Ain't no man alive. I don't care how much money my wife is making. If somebody is making propositions like that, if somebody's kissing on her, somebody's pressing up against her body, ain't no way in hell she's still going to be working there. So either one, she didn't tell her husband, or two, she told her husband and her husband didn't care because she was bringing home a nice sized paycheck. And so they decided that, you know what, let's just go ahead and play it out.
That's right.
And let's just go ahead and
probably when they set this whole little play up. Once he seen what type of suckers was up there, he said, hold on. We gonna get a big check out of this, baby.
Document everything. Keep working there, keep getting that money. And when the time is right, when you're no longer needed at Fox Sports, we'll go ahead and get that bag. And it sounds like that's exactly what they did. The lawsuit claims that Bayless accused Fareed of having sexual relations with co-host Shannon Sharpe and continued to make advances despite her rejections. Damn. And so far what I'm hearing, I believe every word that's being said in these allegations, because it sounds exactly like something that would go down in a setting like this. I could see somebody like Shannon Sharpe doing what he does, being his charismatic self, somebody that keeps himself in good shape, being chose. And then somebody like Skip Bayless seeing Shannon Sharpe getting chose and like, hey, wait a minute, I got a bag too. I got money. I got status. I'm Skip Bayless. If it went down with Shannon Sharpe, then it can go down with me. And so I can see somebody like Skip Bayless getting jealous like that because I've been in situations like that. A lot of guys have, where you may get one thing and one of your homeboys thinks that he can get it too. It don't work like that. Women choose who they want to choose. Either you get chose or you don't. And Ms. Fareed is also alleging that Vice President of Fox Sports, Charlie Dixon, also grabbed her buttocks at a birthday party in West Hollywood back in 2021. And when she went to Joy Taylor to express her concerns and tell her what allegedly happened, Joy Taylor dismissed it and told her to get over it, says the lawsuit. And Ms. Fareed says after she reported some of the misconduct that was going on, she faced retaliation. And ultimately, it culminated in her termination in 2024, which she claims it was for fabricated reasons. Now, this is interesting, this part right here, because she said she reported it in 2024, and she also got terminated in 2024. And so you're talking about almost a 4-year gap in which some of the stuff that she's alleging took place between the time that she actually reported it. And so I believe that she probably saw the writing on the wall. She was about to get terminated. They were doing some cuts, whatever the case may be. And the timing of it is a little suspect to me. But nevertheless, it doesn't make it any less valid, according to the workplace standards that are set at a lot of these corporations. And so Ms. Fareed is seeking unpaid wages, also overtime for other Fox employees, and also seeking a class action lawsuit on the status of her and other workers who were allegedly impacted. So this is a lot. This is a big mess. And what a way to kick off 2025. Man, Fox Sports, they already suffered a setback when they lost Shannon Sharpe. And so shout out to Shannon Sharpe for getting out of there when he did, because I'm sure if Shannon Sharpe was still working there, his name would be right there in the thick of it, especially if they were having any kind of inappropriate relationships. But because he doesn't work there, and it's not a criminal lawsuit, there's no need to mention his name in there. Because otherwise, trust me when I tell you, his name would have been right there with Skip Bayless, saying he did this or he did that. And like I said, it would have been justified according to the standards that are set by a lot of these human resources departments when it comes to corporate America. And so it's kind of one of those cases, you know what you're signing up for when you go to work for some of these places. You know what you're signing up for, and you know what kind of women they hire. They hire eye candy. There's eye candy all around that building. The people who do the hiring, they usually want to hire attractive people because they have that luxury. Everybody wants to work there. And so they have their pick of the litter. And our good friend, what about black on black crime himself, Emmanuel Ocho, was also mentioned. And he was also, according to Ms. Fareed, having an affair with Joy Taylor at and around the same time she was engaged to Earl Watson, NBA player Earl Watson, allegedly. And so it goes back to what Stephen A. Smith said. Some of these women, it doesn't matter how much money you have, how much status you have, they're always going to be looking for bigger and better and looking to upgrade in more ways than one. And so it's a big mess at Fox Sports. And it sounds like Ms. Fareed took a page out of Joy Taylor's playbook, because according to this 47-page document that was laid out by Ms. Fareed, it sounds like she took a page out of Joy Taylor's playbook by doing the exact same thing that Joy Taylor said she would do if she were ever let go. She basically said that she was going to Me Too everybody, allegedly, if she was let go, because she said she wasn't going to go out like other female co-hosts, that she had stuff on everybody. And so, like I said, it's real messy. It's looking real messy for Fox Sports, and it sounds like they got some house cleaning to do over there, but we're going to see how it all plays out. But let me know how y'all feel on this particular video. Let me know.
Daddy Kane say, Well, I know we've all seen this in sports media. Fox, Skip Bayless, others sued on 14 counts, including sexual battery. The suit alleges Bayless offered the plaintiff $1.5 million to have sex with him, and that an FS1 exec grabbed her buttocks at a party. So when I saw that headline, first time it hit me, I was like, woo! The system went overload, because that's my old spot. That's my old home. I used to call that place FS1 home for 4 years. So immediately my first response, always, you guys rock with me, you know what I do, is levity, right? So in trying to laugh at my pain, potential pain, laugh at the pain, I come across this. And let's see. Fox Sports host Joy Taylor has been accused in a lawsuit of sleeping with several prominent executives and personalities to get a prime role with the network. Did not see that in the original headline. The lawsuit also alleges Skip Bayless, who is married, harassed women with lingering hugs, kisses, and gropes, even offering his hairstylist $1.5 million to sleep with him, claiming he could change her life. Okay. Not much levity here yet. Goodness.
Between Tampa and Los Angeles, it's like we got all, I mean, two cities have glommed all the championships.
Okay. These dudes having the times of their lives. Okay. All familiar pictures, all familiar faces. Now a different context as you look at these.
Skip and Shannon Undisputed. Yeah, we co-host, but this is your show. So I owe you a little gratitude. But Joy better not ask me. I mean, Joy, my girl, but Joy better not ask me when I'm coming back. You know what I'm saying? I mean, me and Joy cool, but we go,
Steven Jackson over there crying. Oh, y'all doing too much.
But truly, in the sports industry, I do not know anyone that is more impressive in every way, shape, or form than the one and only Joy Taylor, ladies and gentlemen.
I can't.
Just got done with rehearsal for the new show Speak, and I got to take a moment to shout out my co-host Joy Taylor, a woman, a black woman.
Okay.
Daily show, sports. Do you all realize how hard it is to get into the position that she is in?
Okay.
me
No,
out. It
I-
was
you
my
just went-
turn.
Oh, no,
It is, you told me it was my turn.
All right, too much. Okay. I always have levity. For my situation, when I had a lawsuit against me, I don't run from anything. I addressed it immediately. And one of the things about it in situations like this, because this is wild, as one of my favorite content creators always says, well, this is certainly wild. I love all of these people for different reasons, but I love nothing more than the truth. So in respect to what I love most, we have to address this fully. Okay. Now I can approach this a million different ways. Y'all know me. But for this video, I want to summarize the entire 42-page lawsuit that I read last night, sleeping next to MJ, my little itty bitty. And then after we do that, we're going to break this down into 4 focus points for people to follow and focus. The reason I chose this approach is simple, because when I was accused, I wished everyone would have read the 18-page lawsuit against me word by word, because it would have been blatantly obvious how false those claims were if you knew the beginning to the end, even an allegation, not even reality. But I know people's level of concern is not that high for me, and I also know your attention span is not that great anymore. So no one's going to do that. But I will systematically break this down, page by page, over the coming weeks. I'll give it that. If not for my own desires, because I wish it would have occurred for me, but also to, let's get to the truth. I'm going to say one thing after reading this entire lawsuit. I'm going to say one thing right now. This is my disclaimer. I've read a lot of these lawsuits, including my own. The level of receipts of these assumptions, these allegations, is alarming. It's damning if you're one of the
she got the receipts
which
on
is
it.
Fox, FS1, Joy Taylor, Charlie Dixon, and could be more, as they stated. From text messages to eyewitnesses to anonymous witnesses who still haven't revealed their names. And the fact is, this is a class action filing. This could get uglier real fast. Here's an example of how it could get uglier. What if there was an employee who lost their job, or their job was negatively influenced, right? Intimidated, moved around, put in bad situations, off the network. And it was because their boss, allegedly, was sleeping with another employee. And their co-host was sleeping with the same employee. And then that same employee, coincidentally, just ends up replacing that individual. It's an example, of course, but imagine some kind of love triangle where the boss and a co-host was sleeping with the same person who ends up replacing that individual. Interesting example, isn't it? Allegedly. Our approach today, to keep this video from being 1 million minutes, and it's already getting close, is to say 3 things. What is alleged, what can be proven, and what I think or what I really know. Y'all know me. Many names were mentioned. Let's go there. Not all accused, but that includes the names we've mentioned so far. Emmanuel Acho mentioned. Joy Taylor, Charlie Dixon, defendants. FS1, Fox, defendants. Shannon Sharp mentioned. Colin Coward mentioned. The head of FS1, Eric Shanks, and Mark Silverman potentially become more than just mentioned, but defendants. Hey, itty bitty clan. What's up? Hi, babies.
Hey, what on the wrong side?
No, that's you. Say hi to my itties and bitties. Okay. Okay. What are you guys up to? Okay. Are you guys hungry? Okay. All right. I love you guys. Can Daddy finish his work and then I'll come see you? You sure? Okay. I love you. Close the door behind you. Right on time, right? I love you guys. And make sure you wait till I come back and get you. Don't come back to me, please. I love you. Oh, man. As y'all rock with me, y'all know that's how it goes. Open door policy. Goodness. Okay, let's get back to this. There's nameless other employees. Look, I could just hit back. And there's 4 focus points, 4 folks of focus in this lawsuit. Skip Bayless, Joy Taylor, Emmanuel Acho, and Charlie Dixon. That's who I'm going to break down today. Okay. Now, the worst alleged accusations. Let's start with Skip Bayless. That he offers $1.5 million to sleep with Nushin Faraji. Okay. Now, I know all of these people involved, so let's just get that out the way. Continuously harassed her for years, allegedly, under the impression that Shannon Sharp, he thought Shannon Sharp was sleeping with her. So he's like, if he's able to sleep with you, why can't I? And I care for you. And based off of those accusations, he also allegedly held her job in jeopardy, dangling it. You know how it goes, held it over her head based on how she was treating him. Never got to that point. You read the lawsuit, you'll see all the twists and turns of this. Let me give it to you. Alleging that is pretty damning in headline right now. Everywhere you look right now, Skip Bayless's name is being splattered in a negative light, especially being married and married at the time and still doing this, allegedly. Now, the receipts of this is interesting because this did get to HR levels in conversation. Specifically, she's been in conversation with other executives about this situation. What's interesting also is Charlie Dixon and others were brought into the fold, at least had light of this, as she mentions in the lawsuit. What I know about this is that in general, the makeup room is a setup for failure, setup for disaster. It's a recipe for disaster. And this is not to damn the makeup artist. It's because that's the breeding ground for all these salacious relationships. Everywhere I've worked, and you can look it up. You can just literally type in network, makeup artist, blah, blah, blah. It's an intimate environment. She's right in your face. And I've seen it go both ways. The players or the former players or the announcer, the host, whoever the guest is going in there ready to mac, ready to holler. It could be that person. It could be the makeup artist who is, she knows how close in the proximity she is to some access, some success. She knows how powerful these figures are, you know? And I've also seen it where you come in and you're just not even tripping. But you guys see each other 5 times a week, multiple times a day. She ain't ugly. You ain't either. You got $5. She got $4. Y'all kicking it. And it turns into something. I've seen it every single level. This one specifically, I can't pin down on Skip Bayless. That's a lot of money for something that's free online. I'm going to say that again. But over 7 years, as is alleged, things are different. Things can change for her. Let's get to this one. Joy Taylor, because I think she's taking most of the heat right now. This really came at Skip Bayless, and his name is splattered. And look, him and Ernestine gonna have some conversations. Oh, are they? But Joy Taylor basically is being framed as sleeping her way to success, allegedly. So let's talk through it. It says she slept with Charlie Dixon, who's the head of content, basically the boss of FS1, because he's the daily guy that you will always know has his fingerprints on everything there. Eric Shanks runs FS1, but that's probably a little more paperwork, a little more shaking of hands, etc. The content, what you see, who you see, all of that, the budgets, oh, that's Charlie Dixon, and that's my dog. However, in terms of Joy Taylor, they say that him and Joy Taylor had a romantic relationship. That's what Nushin says. And others, according to the lawsuit. All right. Why is that important? Well, if you're sleeping with the guy who allegedly runs everything, sooner or later, no matter how fast you are, you're going to be running something. Okay, so it also accuses her and speaks of she was married and then divorced because the ex-husband found out about her and Charlie. It also talks about how she was engaged to Earl Watson, right? Basketball player. And that was called off, excuse me, very much, because he found out and got receipts of the relationship as well. Sounds like a deposition in the making of two individuals. Boy, I don't see either one of them telling any lies. So won't be hard to find out the truth of that one. Okay. Also said she slept with Emmanuel Acho in hopes and efforts to get a show with him. Well, the most damning part about that is that actually happened. They got a show together. Coincidence? Or causality? And then she intimidated Nushin and dangled her job in jeopardy as well. Huh. Okay. Let's say it alleges a lot right there. That is damning if you Joy Taylor. Already you can just check online. Forever framed is this, because this whole generation of media talents and the infusion of women as the host, and every show used to have a man, and a woman, and she had to be pretty and she had to look a certain way, etc. She the blonde or the beautiful lady, and she's not adding much to the show. Remember that whole narrative, which is real to some degree, just got realer. Just became such a real narrative that you look at everything with a different context, different hosts.
That should be the end of that. No more of that bullshit.
What can they prove? Well, talking to Earl and talking to ex-husband, the wealth manager guy, former baseball player too, I hear. It can get real. You can prove this, especially if you have all these other witnesses who say and says that they know as well. Reason I can't go there is because, one, I wasn't in the bedroom with any of them, and two, listen to me, I never heard that Charlie Dixon and Joy Taylor were sleeping together. But upon hearing that, I'm not gonna lie to y'all, it makes a lot of things make sense. It unlocks a lot for me. Sleeping with Emmanuel Acho, I've heard that before, multiple times. Recent as a week or two ago. Part of the reason it was suggested that they do a show together was because of these allegations in the lawsuit that they were sleeping together, conspiring to get that to go. Conspiring with Charlie, conspiring with Emmanuel Acho. Let's make this work. What is crazier is how they split apart, do different shows. You can say, well, Skip is fired, which is a part of this lawsuit as well. I mean, this is crazy. That's why I say I'm going to systematically break this thing down. They split apart different shows. Why did they go on different shows, they say? Relationship went sour. So the Acho, the Joy Taylor, I've heard before. And like me, I protect the guilty. I'm never going to be the first to the party. Never going to be the first to the party. But to speak the truth and not to put somebody in no bad light, I will have to do that. I am compelled to do that. And you can call me what you want. You can call me anything but a liar. That's fine. So you can prove this. And unlocking the piece of Charlie, let me just stay on that for a second, if true. Woo-wee. I'm looking at my history and I'm looking at the history of a lot of other talents on that network a lot differently. A lot differently. In a really bad way. Because like we said in that example, imagine if Charlie allegedly is sleeping with Joy Taylor and Emmanuel Acho, and there's somebody who's not sleeping with Joy Taylor. Let's just use me, all right? Because I've known Joy Taylor since she was born, basically, it felt like. I mean, I remember seeing her as an itty bitty around her brother, the homie Jason Taylor. We came out the same year in the same draft class, etc. So known her since itty bitty status. Before this lawsuit, I couldn't make sense of nonsense. But that part right there, the allegation of Joy Taylor versus sleeping with Charlie Dixon and Emmanuel Acho versus an example like mine, unlocks a lot. We'll discuss that later. Let's get to Emmanuel Acho, my dog. Alleges he slept with his co-worker, Joy Taylor, which alludes to the conspiracy of her hosting a show and collateral damage that comes from that. Outside of that, she says he was respectful and a good guy at work. The craziest part about this is, you know, Emmanuel's reputation. I see you guys a lot of times when you saw me leave the network, and I never wanted it to be negative towards Acho. Like, you know, Acho was the reason I was let go. I never wanted that to be a reality or even a narrative or perception, but it went there. And a lot of you guys call him snake in the grass, etc. I see it. We don't lie on this show. There's something to what's done in dark will come to light. True or false in these allegations, things are looking different in complexion in terms of what happened to FS1 then and what was happening up to this lawsuit. And if you start to piece those moves together, like, oh, wait a minute. Out of nowhere, here comes Joy Taylor, who used to be a bartender and little to no experience, they say, in the lawsuit. This is all lawsuit, y'all. Don't be thinking I'm just going in on people. I read it. I know y'all didn't. That's why I got y'all. Turns into doing a lot more. And Emmanuel Acho, who comes from a 3-4 year playing career that he even says was a little below standard, a little subpar, but he becomes uncomfortable conversation guy, Oprah Winfrey guy, plugged media star. This is co-host a show with me, co-host a show with Joy, co-host a show now with another ensemble, does a Saturday show, does other shows, HBO Max, I've seen, etc. Interesting. I hear you, Cat Williams. Stop it. Stop. Not right now. I don't need another cat. Don't be calling me. Let's get to Charlie Dixon. Allegedly slept with Joy Taylor in exchange for promotions within Fox. Like, look, I could grease these roads if you holler at your boy. Pretty damning if true. Pretty damning if true, because you can now pinpoint how you elevated a former bartender, little to no experience, as it says in the lawsuit, to a star role working on the hit show Undisputed, when that was disputed by many people saying, really? On The Herd, and she speaks well of Collins. Nushin says Colin was professional, respectful. And now Speak, 2 versions of Speak Joy Taylor is hosting. They also said this was a long-standing pattern of behavior happened with Charlie Dixon. This ain't the first time. And he's iced out another talent by setting her up to fail on a show. Why I know this would get uglier? Why I know this would get uglier? Because reading through that lawsuit, I can't prove everything. Like I said, some things I didn't even know. Like, I didn't know that Charlie Dixon and Joy Taylor allegedly were having sex together. But some of those things absolutely, positively were true, were factual, were actually said, even by the perpetrator. She accused somebody in that lawsuit, and then I know the people in the lawsuit, and I'm like, yeah, they told me that. And I never thought of it in this context because it was never unlocked until the allegations of, oh, this was all the way from the top. I was in the understanding that it was all just, host and host doing the most, talent and talent, showing who was more talented, makeup artists and talent, same old, same old. Everywhere I've been, it's the same old, same old. But now, hearing that it may have started up top. Whole different animal. You know how I feel right now being real? I feel like this. I don't feel vindicated because I didn't step in this. But I know when I was accused, and I know when it was alleged about me, and I know that wherever I was in terms of who you thought I was, that 100% pure. Marcellus, he's 3-time Walter Payton Man of the Year candidate, and Marcellus in the community, a Project Transit, never does anything. He's so approachable. I know I didn't have 100% of you guys anymore. I was in the 90s, 80s, maybe, probably 90s. Most people didn't believe it, but some do. Some did. Some probably still do. Just as a starting point, it's amazing that it took a 30-year-old lawsuit against me full of falseness to make me feel like I feel right now. Because if that was true to any degree, wouldn't you think that some big conspiracy, craziness, sex scandalicious place like FS1, somehow, some way I would have stepped in it. Got a little on my clothes, a little blood on me, right? Did not, because I am not. And that's where I'm going to start in terms of this. What's going to come from this? More names. Guarantee that. More names. More lawsuits, more names. Because unfortunately, or fortunately, I don't even want to say either way. I ain't picking no sides. What Nushin wrote, at least some of it, I know for fact is real. Take it from there. Go from there. All right. I want y'all to beat it up in the comments. What was the craziest part? What shocked you? What you didn't know or what you did know about these allegations? What can be proven? I want to know that. What do you think can be really proven? Or are you like, dog, good luck with that one? I don't know. And in summation, just a response to it. I know y'all wasn't in the building. I was. But we're a response to it. Does this color how you look at these individuals? Golly, I know the answer. Does this make you look at them different? Why do accusations make you immediately think, yeah, you're guilty? It happened with me to a degree. But at the same time, I think mine is people not tripping. Why? Why do you think so? Break it down. Y'all looking at these people different or not? Now I'm stalling. I'm only stalling because y'all know what it is. This rap gonna be crazy. But I want you guys to support Project Transition.
Now, I want to talk about Skip. To everybody that's tapped in, man, like, share, subscribe. Make sure y'all share this video too, man. Make sure y'all share this video on social media, on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, everywhere. Share this video. Let me tell y'all something, man. So we saw the lawsuit just come out around Skip. We saw the lawsuit that just came out around Skip. Hunt 9, I don't care about what Tony's doing right now. I want to talk about Skip Bayless. Hunt 9. Let's talk about Skip. Skip Bayless. Man, bro. Dog. There was a lot of people that was capping for Skip. Now, in that lawsuit, the lady alleged that Skip basically pressed herself on him. She alleged that Skip Bayless, offered her $1.5 million to have a sexual, type of situation with her. She accused Skip of being, aggressive, as far as his approach with her and trying to court her. And she's accusing Skip of basically blaming her and accusing her of having sex with his co-host on FS1, Shannon Sharp. A lot of people on the internet came out and said, oh, no, this is cap. Nah, Skip ain't putting no 1-point-something million up, man. Skip ain't going to do that, man. Stephen A. snitched. He went viral yesterday. Last night, he came out and, oh, well, you know, and remember Stephen A. worked with Skip at ESPN as well. And Stephen A. Smith came out and said, oh, no, I don't know that Skip. I've never seen that Skip before. That Skip, you know, he was real quiet and always reserved and never let anybody in his personal life. I've never seen anything about that about Skip. Well, somebody has, and his name is Jay Crawford. And now the audio or video has resurfaced of Jay Crawford. Jay Crawford has basically, there's a video of him now that's going viral again. And this might end up bad for Skip Bayless because Jay Crawford has came out. Basically, there was a situation at ESPN. Jay Crawford used to be the host of Cold Pizza. That was a show before Stephen A. Smith came on that show. That was a show between Skip Bayless and Woody Page, and Jay Crawford was the moderator. Jay Crawford was sort of like doing the job that y'all saw the girl right here do on FS1 Undisputed, Joy Taylor. But he was a man that was doing the job on ESPN. And then he shifted from Skip Bayless and Woody Page to Skip Bayless and Stephen A. Smith. Now, it's real bad for Skip Bayless because Jay Crawford has come out. The video has come out now again of Jay Crawford explaining the situation that had happened in the past between Skip Bayless and Woody Page. Now, Woody Page was Skip Bayless's co-host. He was a white guy. You guys can look him up on Google after this video is over with. And Woody Page and Skip Bayless basically had a nasty breakup on the show. Basically, what happened is that Woody Page and Skip Bayless were not getting along on the show for a while. And so Skip Bayless allegedly said something, according to Jay Crawford, in the meeting that threw him back. And I'm going to let him tell you what he said because this right here, it looks real bad on Skip Bayless because this video is now going viral. It didn't even go viral the first time it was out, but it's going viral today. And we're going to get right into this because Skip Bayless, man, bro, this is real bad look, man.
On the actual story where they came to blows, and I think it said they ended up outside the studio on the New York City streets, like, that's not exactly how it happened. But I still got a big kick out of reading it, being there and watching it firsthand, because what happened in the meeting, it just randomly came up. Skip somehow leans back in his chair and he said, I've had more sex than everybody in this room.
Now, let me stop this right there. Stephen A. Smith said last night on his show, he's never heard Skip Bayless talk about anything. Skip Bayless has always been private, this, that, and the third. Jay Crawford says that in the situation that happened between Woody Page and Skip Bayless, when they infamously got into a fight backstage because Woody Page dared bring some of the things that Skip said behind the scenes up that I guess wasn't supposed to go on national TV, Skip Bayless ended up allegedly getting into this fight with Woody Page, and that was pretty much the end of their show. But Jay Crawford, who seems to be a reputable man, he says that Skip Bayless open-handedly in this meeting backstage at ESPN said that I've had more sex than all of you guys in here. Unbelievable. And he said he was taken aback when Skip said that. And this wasn't that just came out today, like Monday Morning Quarterback. He said this already in an interview and the video came out. Let's say it one more time so y'all can hear this.
I still got a big kick out of reading it, being there and watching it firsthand, because what happened in the meeting, it just randomly came up. Skip somehow leans back in his chair and he said, I've had more sex than everybody in this room. And we were all looking at him like, first of all, what kind of thing is that to say? You know, like we're not in junior high. Secondly, apropos of nothing we were talking about, Woody may have been, bragging about a conquest or something, and Skip just shoots him down by saying, You have no idea. And so from that point, it comes up on the air, which stunned me. But Woody.
So it comes up on the air, and that's the reason why they end up getting in a fight. And so now it puts into perspective now, in my opinion. Now, this shows a different side. And for people to say some people are jealous of Skip's success, that is not true. This man was asked, BX male, we're not going to do that capping on this channel. This man was asked what happened with the situation with Woody Page and Skip Bayless. There was an infamous situation with Woody Page and Skip Bayless where they got into a fight backstage, allegedly, at ESPN over some problems they had on set. Well, Skip Bayless, according to Jay Crawford, would say certain things backstage. And the things he said backstage, sometimes Woody Page would use against him on set. So that is what caused the fight that day, allegedly. And Skip got so upset that Woody Page said this on air because Skip would always dig in at Woody Page, apparently, and just say little crazy stuff to Woody Page on the show. And then, right? Mind you, this came out before this whole allegation, this video, right? So, sir, I'm sorry, sir, you're wrong. This video right here came out before this allegation. This video has now resurfaced and went viral because, you know, everything in the past now that was out is now going to come back out and go viral again as people start digging and scraping the internet for all of these different things. The same thing with the Emmanuel Acho video that he erased, right? With Joy, speaking on Joy Taylor, that he erased the other day after this situation hit the fan and everybody saw he erased it, but they had already screenshotted that video. But Skip Bayless, who everybody was saying, oh man, I don't believe he could do this. I don't think Skip was like that. I don't think Skip was like his white co-host, or excuse me, yeah, his co-host, Jay Crawford, right? Jay Crawford. And to the person who said he didn't say nothing beforehand, don't want to hear it now, that's a lie. This video was from beforehand. Janet Jackass, Maxima 347. This video was not now. This video was beforehand. This video was in the past. This was not now of Jay Crawford revealing this information. You damn fool. If you listen to the video, you'll understand. So this is not Monday morning quarterback. I'm coming out hating on Skip. This is the audio that have resurfaced, now putting everything into perspective because Skip's professionalism, people were saying, oh, Skip's the ultimate professional. He could never do anything like that. He would never say anything like that. I never heard him say anything like that. Well, his co-host said he took him back with those comments about, yeah, I've had more sex than all of you guys. You wouldn't know. You wouldn't even know. And now he was explaining, not even trying to hate on Skip, but he was explaining the truth behind why Woody Page and Skip Bayless got into a fight. The reason why Woody Page and Skip Bayless got into a fight, according to Jay Crawford, is because when Skip said that backstage, Skip and Woody Page were already getting to it on set. So Woody Page used that little nugget against Skip on air, allegedly. And that set Skip off, and that's what made them fight off the air. Nobody knew now that this would resurface now, and this information would come out on Skip Bayless, right? Right? So again, Jay Crawford, right, is just saying what happened in that situation with Woody Page. But now that this lawsuit is out against Skip Bayless, and Skip Bayless is silent without any word to say about this lawsuit, he's ignoring it like it's not even out here. This audio has resurfaced of Jay Crawford when Stephen A. Smith came out last night and said, I've never heard Skip ever talk like this. He's professional. He's locked in. He stays to himself. He never reveals himself to anybody, never talks about his private life. And now these videos and audios are starting to resurface on Skip Bayless. Let's let you hear it.
The New York City streets, like, that's not exactly how it happened. But I still got a big kick out of reading it, being there and watching it firsthand, because what happened in the meeting, it just randomly came up. Skip somehow leans back in his chair and he said, I've had more sex than everybody in this room. And we were all looking at him like, first of all, what kind of thing is that to say? You know, Like, we're not in junior high. Secondly, apropos of nothing we were talking about, Woody may have been, bragging about a conquest or something, and Skip just shoots him down by saying, "You have no idea." And so from that point, it comes up on the air, which stunned me. But Woody would do that. Woody would take the thing that should have been left in the meeting room and bring it to TV. Sometimes it was gold, sometimes it wasn't. But in this particular case, somehow it got brought up on, and I'm just sitting there between them going, what are we going to do now? And the way I remember it, and it's been years, the way I remember it, they sort of came together like in a jostling for the cameras kind of way. Like, just sort of, grabbing each other. And then Woody had this thing that he always used to do where he would trip on purpose on camera for a response. He was really good at drawing attention to himself. And I think what Woody did for the cameras as we were going to commercial break was he tried to make it seem like it was more than what it was. But we went to commercial break, and then it got not serious, but they were kind of tussling. But it didn't go outside the studio, outside the green room, right, outside our Manhattan offices into the streets of New York. Like, it was nothing even close to that.
So, Jay Crawford, without knowing at that time that this lawsuit was going to come out years later, or any of this stuff, he said that out of the blue, Skip Bayless was in the meeting at ESPN behind the stage in a private meeting, and in front of him brought up his sexual activities and exploits, how much sex he allegedly had. Now, this is Jay Crawford who said this, right? Now, this goes to shoot down the narrative of all these people that have came out capping, saying, oh, well, Skip Bayless, he would never, he's always professional, man. He sticks to sports, man. Well, a guy who was there, who was behind the scenes, said Skip Bayless threw him off guard because Skip Bayless brought up his sexual activity exploits in a meeting where it didn't have anything to do with it. So now these type of videos are what's going to happen is this type of stuff that's going to help this woman in her case, in my opinion. It's going to help this woman that's accusing Skip Bayless kind of set a precedent to say, look, this is exactly what happened. You understand what I'm saying? Because Jay Crawford said the reason why Skip Bayless and Woody Page got into a fight is because you already know Skip was like going crazy, going hard on TV on the hot topics. But Woody would take stuff that was said in the back meeting and say it on air. And apparently he said this on air and Skip wasn't having it straight like that. So everybody that came in here capping for Skip, Stephen A. snitching all y'all, saying that y'all, well, Jay Crawford in a research surface audio said that in that meeting at ESPN, he said Skip threw him back when he brought up out of the blue that he had more sex than all of them.
More sexual misconduct allegations against high-profile celebrities. This time, Fox Sports and two of its biggest stars are in the hot seat. A former hairstylist has filed a lawsuit accusing Skip Bayless, Joy Taylor, and others of sexual battery and harassment, even going so far as to say Bayless offered her more than $1 million for sex. We've got our hands on this lawsuit, and we are bringing you the most shocking claims. Welcome to Sidebar, presented by Law and Crime. I'm Jesse Weber. Now, as soon as this hit the headlines, we knew we had to cover it, right? The sexual misconduct allegations that have rocked the sports world. Los Angeles hairstylist Nushin Faraji says that she worked with Fox Sports from 2012 to August of last year, and during that time, She claims she was not only subjected to a hostile work environment that included inappropriate comments and touching, but she says she also dealt with retaliation from the company for speaking out. So she has filed both a class action complaint, and I'm going to talk about that a little bit more later, and an individual complaint on multiple grounds, including things like failure to pay minimum wages, unfair, unlawful, or fraudulent business practices, hostile work environment, and sexual battery. Now, in the opening paragraph of her complaint in this lawsuit, it reads, Ms. Faraji brings forth this action because for over a decade at Fox, she was forced to endure a misogynistic, racist, and ableist workplace where executives and talent were allowed to physically and verbally abuse workers with impunity. When Ms. Faraji and others came forward to report the wrongdoing, instead of addressing their concerns, Fox retaliated against them while the perpetrators and those who protected them were inexplicably promoted. This case thus represents yet another in a long line of cases chronicling the toxic culture at Fox, marked by bad faith promises and repeated failures to address a poisonous and entrenched patriarchy. Now, you might be saying this and saying, I'm not a sports fan. I have no idea who we're talking about. That's okay. We're going to give you a rundown about who the defendants are in this case and other major players as well. So we want to give you a quick rundown of this. We're going to first dive into what Faraji accuses them of. So Faraji is suing Fox Corporation, Fox Sports, Fox Sports 1 and 2, often known as FS1 and FS2, and Fox Sports Production. And as well, she is also suing Charlie Dixon, Skip Bayless, and Joy Taylor. First, we'll start with Charlie Dixon. Charlie Dixon is the executive vice president of content for Fox Sports 1. And by the way, that's apparently Fox's flagship multi-sport national network. And he is responsible for overseeing the content and production for the network and has the authority to make decisions about employees. Skip Bayless is a renowned, albeit controversial, sports commentator who's worked in print, radio, television for decades. He's worked as a commentator with Stephen A. Smith on ESPN2's show First Take. This is before he debuted his own show with Shannon Sharp called Skip and Shannon Undisputed. This was on Fox Sports 1 in 2016. And that, by the way, is where he worked with Nushin Faraji, who was part of the styling team for the network. And by the way, in 2021, the New York Post reported that Bayless had signed a $32 million contract with Fox. It's important when we talk about his wealth a little bit later. All right, now before we go any further, I have to talk to you guys about something. This is huge for me. I cannot tell you how excited I am about this, but there is a grooming line called Brickle. I've been using it mostly with Bayless and Shannon. Now, she moved to another show called The Herd with Colin Cowherd on FS1 in 2018, and she's had many other hosting gigs since. Her Instagram is filled with not only reactions to some of the biggest sports news, but also glamour shots, videos where she gives advice about relationships or comments on current events. Now, Faraji says as Taylor continued to move from show to show, she had requested Faraji to continue to be her stylist. Now, the lawsuit notes that there are two other people here. There's Mark Silverman, president and COO of Fox Sports, and Eric Shanks, CEO and executive producer of Fox Sports. They could become named as defendants. They're not currently named, but they could be named as defendants as the case progresses and there's discovery in this lawsuit, because the complaint reads, on information and belief, Mr. Silverman and Mr. Shanks approved, were made privy to, or should have been privy to, all significant employment decisions and personnel-related investigations related to misconduct and or harassment by Fox Sports executives and talent. Further, on information and belief, Mr. Silverman and Mr. Shanks, along with Fox legal team, worked hard to protect perpetrators by forcing individuals who were witnesses to or targets of misconduct and or harassment to sign non-disclosure agreements upon separation from employment. So, on January 3rd, Faraji filed this complaint, laying out what she says had happened to her during her time at Fox Sports. And according to Faraji, she had worked part-time for Fox starting in 2012, and then went full-time in 2016. During that time, she says she befriended Joy Taylor, and this was after Taylor had moved from Miami to Los Angeles for the chance to host on Fox Sports. According to Faraji, Taylor didn't have a regular position at the time, but was available to fill in when needed. Now, this is where it gets interesting, because Faraji claims that when she would go out to meet Taylor for dinner or drinks, Charlie Dixon, again, the vice president for content, was always around. And Faraji says that she didn't even know He was an executive with the company until later when she mentioned to Taylor that she'd seen that guy who always buys us drinks in the elevator. And that is when she said that Taylor shushed her and explained what Dixon's position was in the company. And Faraji believed, based on her interactions with these two people, that they were sleeping together. And when she warned Taylor that that might not be a great idea, that a relationship like that could be dangerous, Taylor allegedly told her not to worry about it. And by the way, apparently both Dixon and Taylor were married at the time. So according to the complaint, in approximately July of 2016, word spread amongst Fox employees about a new show that was going to be a big deal, as it would star Mr. Bayless and Shannon Sharpe. It was known that Fox was looking for a woman with significant TV experience to also star. Therefore, it came as a surprise when Fox announced that Miss Taylor, who is a bartender and radio host in Miami with very little TV experience, would be the moderator of the new show, a sports debate program, Skip and Shannon Undisputed. So Faraji claims that Bayless didn't want Taylor to host the show. In fact, in the lawsuit, she claims that at a dinner between Taylor and Bayless, Taylor shows up, she's dressed, and starts acting very provocatively, potentially in a way to change his opinion about her being on the show.
Now, understand what they're saying. See, the white guy told her to dress up provocatively, come on to Skip. The white guy tried to pimp her out to Skip, give Skip some pussy to get on the show.
But eventually, Bayless agreed to approve her on the show as a favor to Dixon. Okay, when the show premiered in 2016, Taylor, according to Ms. Faraji, had requested that Faraji be her hairstylist, and eventually Bayless had asked her to do his hair as well. Not long after, in January of 2017, Faraji claims that she had attended a birthday party for Taylor. When she goes to this birthday party, she says that Dixon was there, and he was drinking quite heavily. The complaint reads, as Ms. Faraji was standing near the bar facing the crowd, Mr. Dixon approached her. He asked the bartender for a drink and then placed his arm on Ms. Faraji's lower back. He asked how she was doing, if she was having fun, and if she wanted a tequila shot. Ms. Faraji felt very uncomfortable by his unsolicited touching and responded, no thank you. Mr. Dixon then moved his hand lower and started rubbing her body and grabbing her buttocks. Ms. Faraji was mortified, but quickly thought to fake an incoming call to escape from the situation. The complaint goes on to say Ms. Faraji did not know who to turn to, but as she knew Ms. Taylor was sleeping with Mr. Dixon, she turned to her. Surprisingly, Ms. Taylor responded to get over it and explained that she herself only had her job because of Mr. Dixon and that Ms. Faraji only had her job because Ms. Taylor requested her. She warned that Mr. Dixon could take both away. The complaint goes on. Ms. Faraji was terrified and then turned to her coworker, Anonymous, to discuss the situation. Anonymous responded that Mr. Dixon was disgusting, that the entire situation was sick, that it wasn't shocking given Fox's culture, and that Ms. Faraji should remain quiet if she wanted to keep her job. As a single mother who needed the job to support her son, Ms. Faraji had no choice but to remain silent. So, by the way, that is one of the reasons why you might be saying, well, if all this happened, why didn't she file a lawsuit sooner? And we'll get into more of the allegations. But this is a reason. She needed the job. That's something that I will think will come up in a potential lawsuit, a potential trial, if she's being grilled under cross-examination. Okay, moving forward. Later on in the complaint, Faraji claims that Taylor continued to use her sexuality to advance at the Fox company. And she did that by allegedly sleeping with Emmanuel Acho, a former football player turned commentator. So the lawsuit reads, quote, in approximately February 2020, Miss Taylor asked Miss Faraji to meet her for lunch in Beverly Hills. When Miss Faraji arrived, she found Miss Taylor with a man, Emmanuel Acho. Miss Faraji didn't know Mr. Acho, but could tell that the two were romantically involved. A few months after meeting Mr. Acho at the lunch, Miss Faraji noticed him in the hallway while at work. Miss Faraji later asked Miss Taylor if Mr. Acho also worked at Fox. Miss Taylor confirmed and explained that she wanted Mr. Acho to eventually recommend her on the show, Speak for Yourself. Miss Faraji became alarmed and warned Miss Taylor that she should probably not sleep with Mr. Dixon and Mr. Acho at the same time, as Mr. Dixon is a very powerful man that may become very angry. Miss Taylor told her not to worry about it. She explained that she was also now powerful, and once Mr. Dixon was no longer useful to her, she would follow through on her plan to tell the company that he forced himself on her. She would not allow herself to be forced out by Mr. Dixon like other women talent. Wow. Okay, now back to Faraji's claims of sexual battery. So Faraji says in addition to doing hair for the talent, she was also required to give haircuts to Bayless once a week. And she says that's when he started finding excuses to touch her, including giving her these lingering hugs and kisses on her cheek, where he would also press against her breasts. In approximately summer of 2017, while Miss Faraji was giving Mr. Bayless a haircut, he told her that she was voluptuous. As English is her second language and she was not familiar with the word, Miss Faraji asked what that meant. Mr. Bayless seemed amused and told her to, quote, figure it out. Miss Faraji later asked a coworker what the word meant and was mortified. Mr. Bayless then started being more aggressive and direct in his advances. Miss Faraji continuously declined, stating that she did not date at work as she is a single mom and needed her job. And Faraji also made further stunning allegations against Bayless, including that he offered her money for sex. You remember when I talked about his wealth? Well, the complaint reads, quote, in July of 2021, Miss Faraji developed issues with her left ovary and was advised it could be cancer. With a fourth biopsy scheduled, she explained her situation to Mr. Bayless, hoping that he would take pity on her and cease his advances. Instead, Mr. Bayless told her that he wanted to be with her. Miss Faraji panicked and began rambling that there were cameras everywhere, that she has a child, that she does not want him. Mr. Bayless then grabbed her hands, began kissing them, and offered her $1.5 million to have sex. Miss Faraji made an excuse to leave. The complaint goes on. Approximately 1 week later, Mr. Bayless made another advance at Miss Faraji. Miss Faraji responded, Skip, stop, you have a wife. Mr. Bayless responded, aren't you Muslim? Doesn't your dad have 3 to 4 wives? Miss Faraji responded that her father was dead, and when Mr. Bayless looked taken aback, she made an excuse to leave. Now, at one point during her tenure at Fox Sports, Bayless reportedly started to think that Faraji was in a sexual relationship with his co-host Shannon Sharpe. This is a big point in the complaint. And he allegedly confronted Faraji about it. And Faraji denied having any sort of relationship with Shannon Sharpe, saying that she was just nice to all the talent, then he was just misunderstanding the situation. And Faraji says that she even used a recording device to capture one of the conversations with Skip Bayless. Quote, Mr. Bayless then arrived in the makeup room for Miss Faraji to cut his hair in accordance with his regular schedule. Mr. Bayless knew that the makeup room was always recorded and clearly states, this room is bugged. During their conversation, Mr. Bayless stated that he would hate for her to lose her job, but she can't be doing a big thing with my arch rival. She responded by reiterating that being polite to Mr. Sharpe is part of her job. Mr. Bayless responded, BS, 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 I'm calling BS on you. Mr. Bayless then warned her that he doesn't want her to lose her job over this. Miss Faraji responded that she wasn't going to lose her job because she's a great hairdresser. Mr. Bayless responded, I have love for you, and I have for 6 years, and you hurt me, and you are ruining this. Miss Faraji again responded that she must be polite to all talent. Mr. Bayless then implied that if he stopped requesting her, it would affect her job. Later on, the complaint reads, on December 21st, 2023, Mr. Bayless told Miss Faraji that he still loved her and confided that Mr. Dixon was the one who had told him that Miss Faraji was sleeping with Mr. Sharpe. Mr. Bayless then again tried to have sex with Miss Faraji. Miss Faraji's diary entry for that day states, I said, Skip, I'm only interested in working with you and having friendship relationship with you and nothing else. He said, you have no idea you were losing everything. I don't know what he means by that, and I hope he doesn't take me off the show. It makes me sick to my stomach, and it's really hard for me to work like this. I hope God help me because Fox is supporting people like Charlie and Skip. Now, a little side note here. If there is a recording, that is very important evidence for Faraji, on top of what she seems to suggest are text messages between her and Bayless. For example, in the complaint, it reads, on April 14th, 2022, Mr. Bayless texted Miss Faraji, if you're distracted tomorrow, I'll wait till Monday, but I can't keep doing this. Miss Faraji told him that she was very confused. Mr. Bayless responded, trust me, I'm far more confused. And Miss Faraji then explained over text that she is not sleeping with Mr. Sharpe, Mr. Bayless did not respond. Now, there could be a way for Skip Bayless to explain that, right? He could say perhaps this was about her work performance, that this is something along the lines of this is if she's sleeping with Shannon Sharp, then this is going to be problematic for her. It's going to be problematic for the show. There might be a way for him to argue against that, right? Perhaps
this fills in the blank why Skip trying to treat Shannon like shit on live TV. Hating on him, wondering who he's sleeping with, texting this woman about Shannon Sharp. That's disgusting, man. It's disgusting, punk and a pervert.
This was something else. And I should also say that a lot of these alleged conversations, these interactions that center around sex between Faraji and Bayless, they seem to be in person. So this is a he said, she said situation. But if you have text messages, if you have a recording, that changes the game. Now, going back to Shannon Sharp for a minute, he gave a brief response to the allegations Sunday night on his YouTube show called Nightcap, basically saying this has nothing to do with him.
I don't know why everybody if you notice, everybody's posted it. They got me.
Uncho slept with that white man to get his job too. It's a bunch of perverse shit going on here too. They ain't just Joy who was getting passed around by the powerful white men.
In the 42 pages, it don't mention nothing about Shannon Sharp did anything. But y'all want to get clicks, so y'all mention me.
And to be clear, Faraji doesn't accuse Shannon Sharp of any sort of misconduct here. And Sharp and Bayless, by the way, no love lost there. They have clashed multiple times on air, and Sharp eventually left the show in 2023. Now, the lawsuit also lays out multiple allegations of workplace harassment and discrimination related to Faraji's Persian heritage, her accent, her humming. According to Faraji, she hums as a coping mechanism for PTSD, and she's been doing that since she was a child, something that everyone at Fox knew. But she had been humming for all the years she worked at Fox, but says toward the end of her time there were suddenly complaints about it. And Undisputed was canceled in August and Bayless left. Faraji was taken off the schedule. When she questioned her supervisors about it, they couldn't really give her any answer as to why. That's at least what she says. And several days later, Fox told her that they could only afford one hairdresser to work on all three shows, a new morning show, Speak, and Undisputed. And Faraji's attorneys say in the complaint, Fox systematically reduced her work schedule and ultimately terminated her employment by removing her from the schedule entirely, using fabricated business necessities as a pretext. At this point, Ms. Faraji seeks justice. She knows that Mr. Dixon used his position of power to coerce women into having sex with him and used it as a justification to grope Ms. Faraji. She knows that Mr. Dixon did not immediately fire her after Ms. Taylor and Ms. Faraji had a falling out, only to appease Mr. Bayless by providing him with a plaything. Despite Ms. Faraji being an excellent hairdresser and continuously being requested by talent, she was shrunken down to how much she could appease Mr. Bayless, and once Mr. Bayless was gone, so was her job. Now, as I mentioned earlier, Faraji is filing both her own individual complaint and she is wanting to bring a class action lawsuit against Fox on behalf of, quote, all non-exempt hourly individuals who worked for Fox in California during the period commencing 4 years prior to filing of this complaint. Now, a few things I'll just mention about a class action. So this is a call to action about other people coming forward instead of them all filing individual lawsuits against Fox. If you have a bunch of plaintiffs who are basically alleging the same thing, the same kind of issues, you can combine that into one giant lawsuit, one giant class action lawsuit, and she would presumably be the representative of that group. And there's a lot of reasons why you do a class action lawsuit. One of them, it helps with efficiency. Instead of the courts dealing with multiple lawsuits and witnesses, the same kind of witnesses having to testify in so many different trials, in terms of a practical result, in terms of efficiency, it can all be done at one trial. And also, it might be a strategic advantage for a settlement action as well, if you have multiple plaintiffs as well. And this lawsuit says it's believed that there are more than 100 employees and former employees who would qualify after having not been paid properly for things like overtime, double shifts, and more. And on behalf of herself, for her individual complaint, this is now specific to her, maybe not the other plaintiffs here, she has filed the following causes of action. Sexual battery. So this is for the alleged actions of both Dixon and Bayless. Dixon, it was for that alleged incident that happened at the birthday party. And for Bayless, it was for those lingering hugs after each haircut, where there was also allegations of him kissing her cheek too. And by the way, it's not just a claim against these two guys. No, it's also against Fox, arguing that the company is legally liable for the actions of its employees. In the law, we call that respondeat superior. She's also suing for hostile work environment in relation to sex or gender, race or national origin, and disability. We talked a little bit earlier about what those claims are about. Failure to prevent harassment. So that is against the Fox defendants, because the argument would be it was their job to take all reasonable steps to prevent discrimination or harassment. Negligent supervision, hiring, and retention. So this is in relation to the employment of people like Skip Bayless and Charlie Dixon. Retaliation, wrongful termination, this idea that she was engaging in protected activity under the law, particularly speaking out about things, and she was punished for it. And, she was defending herself and she was punished for it. So she is seeking restitution, damages for employees who would be involved in this class action lawsuit. She's also requesting damages like compensatory damages for herself. And Faraji also wants Fox to fire the multiple people who were involved here, including Charlie Dixon, Joy Taylor, and Faraji's direct supervisor, Gina Peretti, who she also accuses of bullying her. Now, Fox Sports released a statement to Front Office Sports over the weekend saying, "We take these allegations seriously and have no further comment at this time, given this pending litigation." And at the time of this recording, no response from Skip Bayless or his legal team. That may change. They may just decide to provide an answer in their legal filings. But the first thing that would happen, of course, is after this, is there would be an answer to these allegations. There could also be a potential motion to dismiss, which we might see as well. But clearly, this is the start of what could be a protracted litigation, really has shaken up the sports world, and we will see where it goes. But that's all we have for you right now here on Sidebar, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us. And as always, please subscribe on Apple
Now, I'm not one to gossip, but I will bring you the tea. Welcome to Chronicle Speaks.
Please, I don't have any time for any gossip now. Eh? Yes.
So we've made it to the year 2025, and the Diddy news can't stop, won't stop. There's a new documentary coming out on Peacock later this month entitled Making of a Bad Boy.
I think Sean Combs can get away with anything.
You got me acting crazy in front of all these people.
Something is not right with this.
And I can show you how we have fun and stay out of jail, too.
Now, the lie detector test determined that that was a lie because Diddy has not been able to show anyone else or himself how to stay out of jail. Now, Diddy, who has been in the Metropolitan Detention Center in Brooklyn since September of last year, was denied bail 3 times. And just recently, we heard that he had a meltdown while in prison during the holidays because he was not able to get out and be with his family. Now, in a recent letter dated yesterday, Judge Arun Subramanian responded to Diddy's request for a hearing and other relief regarding his 4th and 6th Amendment right being violated during the BOP sweep at the detention center. Judge Subramanian is wanting affidavits from not only the prosecution, but as well as the investigators stating each of their roles in this sweep to make sure no violations were had. Now, I also want to update you on Miss Anna Kane. Now, Anna Kane was the Jane Doe from 2003 that accused not only Diddy, but Harv Pierre and a third assailant of trafficking her via jet, taking her to New York, and essaying her. Now, according to Anna Kane's attorney, Attorney Douglas Wigdor, who happens to also be Cassie's attorney, the defendants were in talks of a settlement. However, they want to see some discovery first. Now, what innocent individual says, I have no problem with paying you for what you're accusing me of, but I want you to show me a little bit of the proof that you have first.
Does that mean he's guilty?
He did that shit. He
Guilty as fuck.
We're going to get into this story and so much more, but before we do, please be sure to subscribe to this channel and hit the bell for notifications so you don't miss out on any news regarding these stories and so much more. Now let's get back into it. Now, there is a 90-minute documentary special that will premiere on Peacock January 14th, promising to provide crucial insight into the forces that shaped Combs and may have made him a monster. Diddy, The Making of a Bad Boy, features interviews with one of Combs' childhood friends, his former bodyguard, and a winner of Diddy's music competition series, Making the Band. Plus, producer and singer-songwriter I'll Be Sure, who was at Uptown Records with Combs and dated Kim Porter before him, speaks out about his former label mate. The doc also includes new footage of Diddy partying both at home and in the studio. Now, an anonymous interviewee in the trailer says, "I've been with Sean for quite a while and I've captured a lot of moments. Anytime a studio or any room is red, he's making love and sex. Some of the ones who went in the room, for sure, they were underage." Now, while Diddy has lost a lot of fans after many people saw what he did to Cassie Ventura on tape, I can understand why this man is starting to feel overwhelmed. He has case after case coming after him, documentary after documentary being posted, and there's absolutely nothing he can do about it because his hands are tied. Now, we're all innocent until proven guilty. However, it seems like a lot of these cases are being played in the court of public opinion instead of in the court of law. And if that's the case, your boy has lost already. He might as well tuck in his sheets and tuck in a couple of other things, because it doesn't seem like he's coming home. Now, as you may recall, a special investigator went through Diddy's belongings, took pictures. Diddy's team felt as if attorney-client privilege information was taken, given to the prosecution team. But come to find out, Diddy was writing legal on notepads after the BOP sweep, trying to get the prosecution disqualified before the trial even got started. Now, because of the way Diddy and his team were trying to play this situation, Judge Arun Subramanian saw no foul play via the prosecution. However, since Diddy and his team are now requesting another hearing, Judge Arun Subramanian is wanting to dot all I's and cross all T's. Judge Subramanian wrote this letter yesterday. Combs moved for a hearing and other relief related to search of his possessions during a BOP sweep of the MDC, alleging 4th and 6th Amendment violations. The government responded that the search was conducted pursuant to legitimate BOP objectives and that the investigator operated separately from the prosecution team. In evaluating Combs' motion, the court would find the following additional materials helpful: an affidavit from the prosecution team stating its understanding of the chain of events leading up to, during, and following the MDC sweep, including Investigator 1's role, and number 2, an affidavit from Investigator 1 describing his role and the circumstances in which he participated in the MDC sweep and the extent of his communication with the prosecution team, including any communication in advance of the MDC sweep or about the MDC sweep. These affidavits should be furnished to the court by January 17, 2025. By the same deadline, the prosecution team should produce its written communications with Investigator 1, if any, for the court's in-camera review. And all of this is stemming from Diddy's team submitting a motion for hearing and discovery on December 4th to suppress privileged notes and any evidence obtained from an illegal search, and to appoint a special master for privilege review instead of the regular filter team that they were using before. Now, the motion also requests the disqualification of certain prosecutors who may have been influenced by access to privileged materials, and to halt the monitoring of Mr. Combs' communication with his defense team, and depending on the hearing's outcome, the dismissal of the indictment. We always say it's not what you know, it's what you can prove. And because Diddy has left so much evidence out there, his team is definitely going to try to go against the prosecution and poke holes all in their stories. If they can find out the prosecution did wrong, if they can find out that this investigator was a part of making sure the prosecution had information they were not supposed to have, he can definitely have this indictment thrown out. Now, with it already being proven that Diddy wrote legal on these documents after the MDC sweep, Judge Subramanian is still the type, and has been the type since everything has been going down, to dot all I's and cross all T's to make sure they can't never come back and say that he was being biased, he didn't review information, he was choosing one side over the other. I can say that so far he has been a very fair judge. Now let's talk about Anna Kane. Now, Anna Kane, who used to be Jane Doe, had to come forward and reveal her name in order for this lawsuit to continue. So on December 6th, she filed an amended complaint revealing her name was Anna Kane. Anna is the ex-wife of Edmonton Oilers hockey player Evander Kane. Now, Harv Pierre, who according to his LinkedIn account is president of Bad Boy Entertainment, is the alleged individual that, according to Anna Kane, approached her at the age of 17 in a Detroit area lounge in Michigan and convinced her to take a private jet with him and a third assailant to Teterboro, New Jersey. Now, once she arrived at Daddy's house recording studio in Manhattan, Kane alleges that she was given drugs and alcohol before being viciously gang-argued one after the other. Now, when the allegations came about, Diddy said, "Enough is enough. For the last couple of weeks, I've sat silently and watched people try to assassinate my character, destroy my reputation and my legacy." He stated, "Sickening allegations have been made against me by individuals looking for a quick payday. Let me be absolutely clear. I did not do any of the awful things being alleged. I will fight for my name, family, and for the truth." And you have to realize Diddy was very upset. This is the fourth lawsuit he's received in a month's time, given the fact that Cassie had just filed hers November 18th. Diddy was stating there was this witch hunt out against him and everybody was just trying to get a payday. That was up until the Cassie tape came out that following May, and he's apologized for it publicly.
I take full responsibility for my actions in that video. I'm disgusted. I was disgusted then when I did it. I'm disgusted now.
So because of the proof, Diddy had to come forward in that situation, but he never came forward in this Anna Kane situation. He was totally against her using the pseudonym Jane Doe. But why? Thinking that was going to make her retract the lawsuit, it did the complete opposite. Anna came forth, gave her first, middle, and last name, and she said, what's that? Now, Anna and her attorneys via the Wigdor law firm sent a letter to Judge Clark, who is the judge handling this case, basically stating that they are aware that a scheduling order is currently being complicated by the fact that Sean P. Diddy Combs is facing criminal charges that are currently scheduled for a May 2025 trial. And because of that, the defendants proposed and the plaintiff has agreed to hold off on conducting any depositions until after the criminal trial is over. Now, Anna is suing them under the New York Gender Motivated Violence Protection Act, and Diddy and Harv Pierre are trying to go the Jay-Z route, stating that the plaintiff's claims are too old and are barred by the statute of limitations. And they also claim that the case is already covered by another law, the Child Victims Act. Furthermore, they might argue that Mr. Combs wasn't responsible for what happened because it involved actions by other people, and that proceeding with the case would violate constitutional rights. Discovery has not yet commenced. The parties believe that at a minimum, paper discovery will need to be conducted prior to any meaningful settlement discussions. Moreover, the parties believe that settlement is unlikely prior to the deposition of the criminal charges pending against Mr. Combs. So they're not going to talk about any further settlement until Diddy's criminal trial is over. We've already discussed that. However, on the next line, it says settlement discussions. Prior to the filing of this action, the parties discussed the possibility of settlement, but it quickly became clear that settlement would not be possible prior to at least some discovery. So what does that mean? Before this action was filed, the two parties talked about the chance of settling the matter outside the court. However, it became apparent that they wouldn't be able to reach a settlement until they gather more information and details about the discovery process. So Diddy was willing to settle, but he wants to see what proof they have. So either you're going to settle or you're not. The fact that you actually had conversations about settling, but wanted to see what discovery was available before doing that, tells me that obviously there's some guilt in the matter. What I need to do is hear from you. What do you think about everything going on now in the world of Diddy? Leave a comment, and you know how we do.
Did this Diddy joke go too far at last night's Golden Globes? Also, we have the date now where the feds plan to finally reveal Diddy's co-conspirators. And explosive new claims are also coming from a brand new Diddy documentary. We got the details. Happy New Year. Welcome to Popcorn Planet's Diddygate coverage. We have not stopped. We won't stop. And we have a bunch of new claims coming in, a new date. But first, I want to start with the most current news. Last night was the Golden Globe Awards, and host Nikki Glaser was condemned by many online for a gross Diddy joke in her opening monologue. I gotta say, overall, I was more impressed than I expected to be. She really walked the line of roast and tribute, where she was making fun of people, but not going too far, which some people think Ricky Gervais did. I loved Ricky Gervais the best because he really just called out the disgustness that is Hollywood. But Nikki, I think, did it a little bit more deftly. She was more careful while still having fun with everybody in the room. She could have definitely gone harder, and I would have liked that she did, but I understand why she didn't. She wants to work in this town. She's not as rich as Ricky Gervais. She can't afford to just tell everybody off. But here is the bit around Diddy, and I want to get your thoughts if you missed it. Heroes, sit up around Zendaya.
Zendaya, you were
Zendaya, she was
incredible in Dune. Oh my God, I woke up for all of your scenes. You were so good.
I love that even she's embarrassed to laugh at the joke. When the celebrity is roasted slightly enough that even they want to joke, I woke up for all your scenes in Dune 2. It's just a nice little backhanded compliment, and for many thought Dune was boring.
And Challengers Girl, oh my God, it was so good. I mean, that movie was more sexually charged than Diddy's credit card. I mean, seriously. Oh, no, I know.
There was a lot of react, like, uh-oh, what do we do? And it's always interesting to see how people react in Hollywood to this Diddy topic.
Sorry, I'm upset too. The after party's not going to be as good this year, but we have to move on. I know what Stanley Tucci Freak Off just doesn't have the same ring to it, but
That face kind of says it all.
no baby oil this year, just lots of olive oil, okay?
Look, I found that funny because it's a Stanley Tucci joke. It's a Stanley Tucci joke. He does cooking all the time. He does cooking with Stanley Tucci. He's like the whole thing. He's like Italian olive oil. That was the joke. I didn't find it as offensive. Personally, I think everything can be jokeable. You got to try to find the laughs in it, or else it's just too depressing of a world. I mean, she is calling out, the parties aren't as good, which I think a lot of people in Hollywood are starting to feel like, oh crap, we can't have as much fun at these parties anymore because we might be called out. Now, that doesn't mean they were going as far as Diddy was going, but I do think this joke walked that line where I can see why some would be offended. But honestly, I think she could have gone even harder. I would have enjoyed that more. Now, actual news regarding Diddy. This is a big one. So the feds have now made their plan, revealed their plan, at least. It's all part of this letter. This is sort of the coming in from the Homeland Security, et cetera, people fighting against Diddy. A lot of pretrial motions and things that are said in here. A lot of it's important, but I want to focus on one part of it here. Let me get this in. This is submitted by both parties, actually. There's this letter coming in. Here it is. I want to focus on the enterprise letter. Here it is, guys. Sorry, they're wrong. Let's focus on this letter. So what this enterprise letter actually is. Government position. Consistent with the practice of the district, the government proposes filing an enterprise letter, which will be set out the specific acts and conduct underlying the racketeering conspiracy changed in the indictment approximately 8 weeks in advance of trial, March 7th. That's the date. With such a schedule, the enterprise letter will provide more particular notice of the specific objects of the charged racketeering conspiracy, including, to the extent possible, the dates, times, places, and participants for each racketeering act. Will incorporate the court's rulings on pretrial motions and will fully reflect the specific conduct that will be at issue at trial with respect to count 1. Defense counsel's proposal that the enterprise be letter filed prior to pretrial motions is contrary to the practice of this district and efficient, given that the pretrial motions could impact the substance of the letter. The defendant's citation to the Rainier case is unavailing, and Rainier was arrested on this date, blah, blah, blah. On March 2018, his trial commenced on June 2029, a span of 15 months. By contrast, in this case, the defendant was arrested 2024, and the trial was set is the defendant's assistance for May 2025, a span of fewer than 8 months. The defendant is trying to have his cake and eat it too, by insisting on a speedy trial, but also insisting on deadlines set in cases with much longer timelines. Second, even if the longer lifespan of the Rainier case, the enterprise letter in that case was due after the submission of pretrial motions. So again, what they're trying to say, and this is, and the government's right, you want your speedy trial, fine, but we still get our time to do it the way that we're allowed to legally, and you don't get to have it early just because you're doing a speedy trial. He is trying to have his cake and eat it too. The problems with having a speedy trial means he gets less time too, and they get to have the time they're allowed, and then he's going to have limited time. That's all sort of the blessing and a curse of a speedy trial. And they're making it clear, like, look, even in the Keith Raniere case, that Axiom cult case, he got it after the submission. So that was the argument. Now, Diddy's defense, Mr. Combs has a significant disadvantage. Defense counsel still does not understand the contours of the government's allegations, including who the government even considers a victim, and have repeatedly asked for assistance from the government. Indeed, despite the government's statements to the court during the December 18th conference, government recently confirmed that it continues to oppose the defense's requests for information, including identification of alleged victims, unless until the government is required to make trial disclosures. The defense will remain ignorant of the evidence it is required to meet. The result will be fundamentally flawed trial. And so that's what they're trying to argue. This isn't fair, Judge. It's not fair. We didn't get enough time. Whereas obviously the government's saying nonsense. You're getting the allowed time. We're allowed to have as much up until this time period. Here it is set in motion. You'll have it, and you'll have 2 months to prepare with all the specifics. Honestly, is that enough time? Is that how this should be? I mean, I look, speedy trial is a real thing that he deserves to not be stuck and rot in prison forever. I know some of you want him to. I get it. But we all have due process, and we should have the right to a fair trial and to have it quickly. How quickly is quickly? Is the government waiting to the very end to sort of get that advantage? Clearly. Are they allowed to do it? That's the question. Or will that help cause a mistrial later where he didn't have a fair trial? We will see. I'm sure he's going to claim that no matter what. But this gives us that date, at least. March 7th is when the government is intending to finally hand over all the information. So mark your calendars. That's an important one because that's when we'll finally start getting some more details about this from their side because they're holding on their cards very tight. Now, more has come out. Some new guests and people mentioned in a new Peacock documentary, explosive claims. Here's a quick clip from that documentary.
I've been Sean for quite a while, and I've captured a lot of moments.
So again, they claim exclusive footage here. I haven't seen a lot of this stuff, so I don't know. These are bodyguards and people. I saw Gene Deal in there. A lot of their faces I haven't recognized.
Anytime with the studio or any rooms is red, is making love.
Or X, as you can tell what he's about to say there. So that this is the accusation now. That it's if anytime you saw the red room, that's what was happening. And some of them girls in that room for sure, they were, you can read it yourself right there on screen. Yeah, that's problematic, man. And it's weird because it says I have seen this red theme a lot, the love theme. Even recently, Little Rod's lawsuit had photos and talked about this. So the red theme, I guess, was this sort of unwritten rule of, yep, this is when the freak off starts if it's in a red light. Who knows? More people
become an alleged monster.
This is a part of the new Peacock documentary.
Fun to stay out of jail too.
We tell you how to have fun, how to stay out of jail too. Diddy, the making of a bad boy, coming to Peacock, I guess, January 14th. We will keep you privy to that. Obviously, watch it and keep you updated. Ironically, Nikki Glaser made a pretty good Peacock joke at the Golden Globes as well. Eddie Redmayne is now an investigator. No one can find him because he's on Peacock. Does anyone have Peacock? I'm curious. Anybody actually paying for Peacock? Are you going to go subscribe to Peacock for this? Let me know. It's not personal. We're in a world where I'm grateful. So many of you guys signed up to watch my Meghan and Harry documentary. Thank you. You still can over on Patreon. Those Patreon funds are going so I can do more projects like this, honestly. And I'd love to do a Diddy doc, but it's expensive. These people do want money to do these interviews or at least give their footage and get exclusives. And I can understand where they're coming from. Everyone's got to get their bag. But I'd love to be able to do this. I'm just curious. Did you guys sign up for Peacock? Is there enough there? And have you considered signing up for our Patreon? You can do it. I hope to have some more documentaries in the works throughout this year. We have another Harry Meghan one coming out, but we all are working on a Jackson one for later in the year as well. But we are trying to shop that around so we can get to a stream
Michigan prison inmate who claims that Combs raped him in the 90s. A judge had initially granted a massive $100 million judgment in his favor, but after that was overturned, Derek Cardello Smith is now pushing forward with his lawsuit, and he says he plans to call pop icon Jennifer Lopez as a witness. Welcome to Sidebar, presented by Law and Crime. I'm Jesse Weber. The legal battle involving Derek Cardello Smith is one of the strangest parts of the saga of Sean Diddy Combs right now. And as we know, the rapper is behind bars in Brooklyn, accused by the feds of forcing sex workers and others to participate in hours-long sex performances and orgies, sex trafficking, racketeering, transportation, to engage in prostitution, federal charges. And at the same time, Combs has also been accused in several civil lawsuits of drugging and raping people as far back as the 90s. The allegations come from both men and women, including some who say that they were just teens when they were targeted. And in the midst of a flurry of lawsuits, before he faced criminal charges in federal court, we learned about a man named Derek Cardello Smith. This is an inmate incarcerated at Ernst C. Brooks Correctional Facility out in Michigan. Now, he has been convicted multiple times for criminal sexual conduct and kidnapping. Cardello Smith appeared on a judge's live stream from prison representing himself to explain why he wanted an injunction against, out of all people, Sean Combs.
This is in the matter of Derek Lee Cardello Smith, MDOC number 267009 versus Sean Combs, Sean Puff Daddy Combs, also known as Sean P. Diddy, also known as Diddy, Bad Boy Records, label owner, founder, also known as Puff P. Daddy, Bad Boy, Diddy Run the City, Sean Combs, also known as Sean Puffy Combs. And this is file number 24-7362NO. I'll grab your paperwork here real quick out of this other paperwork. We do have Mr. Cardello Smith appearing from the Michigan Department of Corrections. Sir, where are you currently located?
I'm located at the Ernest C. Brooks Correctional Facility, 2500 South Sheridan Drive, Muskegon, Michigan, 49444, ma'am.
All right, thank you, sir.
Or your honor.
Thank you. So I do see that we do have a proof of service on Mr. Combs, but for purposes of this hearing, you filed a motion for a temporary restraining order and or a preliminary injunction to stop all sales of the property and assets attached to or involved with said property based on the interest of plaintiff and plaintiff's connections to defendant's sexual assault of plaintiff Derek Lee Cardello Smith, requiring a preliminary injunction and or a temporary restraining order.
By the way, when we're covering stories like this one, it is very important to bring you just the facts, not put any kind of slant or bias on that. We always try to do that at Law and Crime and Sidebar. But that is why we are so happy to partner with a company like Straight Arrow News. So this is an app and website that is focused on objective, unbiased reporting. As somebody who's always doing research for Sidebar, I know how easy it is to get lost in biased journalism, right? Well, Straight Arrow News, they help us cut through that with tools like the Media Landscape, which shows where outlets fall on the political spectrum. We also have the Media Mist tool, highlighting stories.
The purpose of it is based on two actions taken by Mr. Combs himself, directly with me here. We did a live one-on-one visit in our prison visiting room. There's two meetings within the past 2 weeks with Mr. Combs on one meeting, and then a financial advisor on the other meeting on Mr. Combs' behalf. And he stated that he would make me an offer to end the case and what happened to me because of other things that he stated he has going on in his life that require his money right now, and he wants to sell everything off. And he made me a financial offer of $2.3 million to allow what happened to me to go away. And he stated that he's going to be selling his property, and under the 2005 California Civil Code 2881-2885, the creation of liens, which allows out-of-state justices and orders to cause a stop of any title transfer, property transfers in Los Angeles or any other place that he has property. He stated that he wouldn't be able to proceed with that sale. And he did it the day after I served him the suit. And he also said that he won't be filing an answer to the complaint. He said, you can find me in default or whatever. He has a better chance with default than he would with having a restraining order stop. And I said, so you want to hide you want to hide your money and stop from being quite possibly paid to me if I'm given the benefit of a judgment in my favor for what you've done to me. And he pretty much said, yeah. He goes, you know how we get down. And I said, okay, well, I disagree with how you get down. Your sale shouldn't go through.
So I'm gonna hold on.
I'm sorry.
Mr.
I'm sorry.
Cadella Smith. Okay, so you went in a different direction than I thought you were going into. I thought we were just going to focus. No.
We are.
You kind of went off on a different direction than what your actual motion was.
Yeah.
So what I just want to say is settlement negotiations.
Yeah. I'm sorry.
In this case, are probably better not. Yeah, they're not to be placed on the record today. Okay.
I apologize.
No, it's okay. You're not an attorney. I understand that. So if we can just backtrack and focus just on your motion.
Ma'am. I get what you want.
Okay, thank you.
If he's allowed to sell his property that he has in LA and the properties that are in his name being used and held by other people in Michigan, then it will cause me harm because I can be tied directly to those properties through loans and through other areas of investment that I did when I was out there and while in prison through money that I've sent. And if he's allowed to go through with any of the sales, I won't be able to recoup any of my monies or anything from him as a result of any possible judgment in this action, if he's allowed to proceed with it. And an injunction or a restraining order would help ensure that he's not manipulating and selling the property to avoid his responsibility in these matters here. That's what a temporary restraining order would do. It would prevent that from happening. Because it's a very serious matter. It involves a lot of money. And him selling this would help him avoid his liability for these actions done upon me. And I was just hoping that I'd be able to get the restraining order to prevent that. There won't be any harm to him, any of the parties. There won't be any harm to him in any way. And if it's deemed that it's not justified, then he can go ahead and go through with the sale at the end of the case. But one has to be put in place to stop this from happening.
Okay. Okay. So thank you very much.
Yes.
So I received your complaint and all the attachments to it. And then I received this motion. And I just wanted to take a moment to review back through the U.S. District Civil Docket and your complaint. So I did do that. That's all. And
Yes.
Okay. Anything else?
Everything that you're looking at, they're all tied in together. Every part, as crazy as this seems, as outrageous as it seems, it all ties in, every bit of it, every facet.
Okay. All right. Well, I have a proof of service showing that Mr. Combs was served on July 6th of 2000 and let me see, is that 24?
Yes, Your Honor.
Looks like it. 2024.
So that was August of 2024, and a month earlier in July, Combs had put his house in the Holmby Hills part of Los Angeles up for sale, and the judge agreed to issue an injunction preventing Combs from selling the property for 90 days while the rest of the case played out. And in the complaint against Combs, Cardella Smith asked for $100 million, claiming Combs drugged and raped him during a party in Detroit in 1997. He also alleges that Combs filmed the assault. And we have also learned through separate filings that Cardella Smith claims that Combs allowed him to invest in Bad Boy Records if he took the blame for a rape case and went to prison. And get this, since Combs seemingly didn't respond to the summons, the judge issued a default judgment against him. That means $100 million was awarded to Cardella Smith. Unfortunately for him, It would not be for too long because Combs' attorneys quickly responded with emergency motions saying they had no idea that this lawsuit was even going on or who Cardelo Smith was. So the default judgment was set aside and the case carries on. Now, Mark Agnifilo, who is Combs' lawyer in his federal criminal case, said this is a frivolous lawsuit against a prominent businessman based on obvious fabrications filed by a convicted rapist and serial litigant with an overactive imagination and a thirst for fame. Well, since then, Cardelo Smith has been hard at work from inside prison, filing document after document after document with the court. I am talking, by the way, hundreds and hundreds of pages of arguments, case law, exhibits. In fact, he is filing so many documents in so many different courts that he seems to be having trouble keeping things like dates and locations straight. And look, in those filings, he's doing his best to, stick to the legalese and facts of the case. But remember, he is representing himself. He's not an attorney. But he ends up using a lot of underlining, all caps, exclamation points. I said it before, I'll say it again. The fact that he was initially awarded the $100 million, you got to give him credit, right? But look, he is not shy about what he has to say. For example, how about this quote from his proposed 250-page answer to the defendant's motion to dismiss? Defendant Sean Combs is a fake gangster hiding behind his money and his lawyers, and most importantly, his enforcers, who knows that he has committed multiple acts of fraud, and it has been an ongoing thing. His fraud is eternal, and his entire empire was built on rape, torture, being a fake gangster, rapist, brutal, power-hungry, greedy millionaire, and quite simply, he is not a man. Wow. And remember, Combs says he doesn't even know who Cardelo Smith is. And we have to be clear about something. Sean Combs has never been criminally charged for rape or sexual assault per se. And as far as the federal charges, he hasn't been found guilty. And for all the lawsuits, he hasn't been found liable in any of them as well. Now, he has entered a not guilty plea in federal court. He strongly denies any of these allegations. But who is this Derek Cardelo Smith character, right? And how, by the way, does Jennifer Lopez fit into all of this? Well, according to the Michigan Department of Corrections, Cardelo Smith is serving a decades-long prison sentence at a correctional facility near Muskegon. In 1998, Cardelo Smith was convicted of 2 counts of third-degree sexual conduct. He was paroled, and while out, prosecutors say he committed more sexual offenses. He was convicted in 2008 on 6 counts of first-degree criminal sexual conduct and 2 counts of kidnapping. Pled no contest in that case. And then in 2019, he was convicted of 4 counts of first-degree criminal sexual conduct. And according to the Department of Corrections, the earliest release date for him is 2036. So Cardelo Smith, by the way, has appealed all of those convictions over the years and says that he was falsely accused of rape in 1998, that he was set up by police. And by the way, in his filing against Combs, Cardelo Smith also claims that there is collusion, that there is a conspiracy afoot, saying and alleging that Detroit police covered up his rape at Combs' instruction. And that is not even the wildest claim in this lawsuit. So let's dig into it. On December 9th, Cardelo Smith filed a notice of submission of material witnesses and named 3 people: New York police officer Derek Palmer, former Combs employee Kirk Burroughs, and pop superstar Jennifer Lopez, J-Lo, who dated Combs from 1999 to 2001. And possibly one of the most memorable headline-making moments of the relationship came in December of 1999 when Combs, Lopez, Combs' bodyguard Anthony Wolf Jones, and rapper Jamal Shine Barrow were involved in an argument in a New York City nightclub that led to gunshots. All 4 were arrested on charges after they left the club in a car. Police pulled them over after they ran a red light. A gun was found lying in the car in full view, according to police reports. And the weapon, turns out, had been reported stolen out in Georgia, and none of the people in the car had a license for the gun. Now, the charges against Lopez, they were dropped, and after a trial in New York, Combs and his bodyguard were acquitted. Shine, though, was found guilty of criminal possession of a weapon and first-degree assault. He was acquitted on the charge of attempted murder, and he served nearly 9 years for his charges. He since said that Combs was the one who actually fired the shots, and he took the fall for him. But going back to Cardelo Smith's filing, his notice says that Jennifer Lynn Lopez, a.k.a. J-Lo, a.k.a. Jenny from the Block, quote, will be called as a material witness and expert to Sean Combs' viewing, possession, and distribution of his sexual assault upon the plaintiff in 1997 and the orders of defendant Sean Combs forcing Jennifer Lopez to remain silent about the videotaped sexual assault of plaintiff by defendant. Plaintiff states that the material witness Jennifer Lynn Lopez, also known as J-Lo and Jenny from the Block, was engaged in a relationship with the defendant Sean Combs during 1999 and 2001, and that the sexual assault of the plaintiff was recorded, distributed, and held by the defendant at his New York residence and recording studio. And during the relationship with Jennifer Lopez, she was made privy to this video that was taken by Sean Combs and his employee Kirk Burrows. She, J-Lo, has known this video existed and was in existence and took no action to make it known to anyone in law enforcement, and that she was even questioned by New York Police Detective Derek Palmer about this matter, and that the report will show that her answers to this tape was and still remains a resounding yes to its existence. And again, Cardell Smith writes that he wants to call Officer Derek Palmer as a witness because he says Palmer is the one who questioned Lopez and believes that he will have testimony that could help his case. Now, as I mentioned, Diddy's legal team has called for this entire case to be thrown out. Cardell Smith has filed a massive response to that request that totaled more than 200 pages. Probably half of it was just straight up copies of case law that seems to support his arguments word for word. It's something out of like a legal textbook. There's so much to slog through, but I kind of want to give you some of the highlights. So first, in addition to the claims of rape and a cover-up, Cardell Smith also claims and alleges that Combs was violent towards his loved ones. At times, Cardell Smith addresses alleged threats against his family. Other times, he says Combs actually caused serious injuries to his brother. His response reads, defendant used threats of murder to force the plaintiff to not bring the case to any court of law enforcement until the homes of the defendant were raided by Homeland Security, that the plaintiff knew it was a safe time to bring the case, and that is why we are here at this juncture. And Cardell Smith argued that fear for his own safety and the safety of his family is one of the main reasons that he waited so long to report the alleged rape, and says that that reason alone should override any issue with the statute of limitations, that these claims might be otherwise be time barred. And he also argues that while he's been in prison, fellow inmates and prison guards have threatened him on behalf of Sean Combs. Quote, plaintiff states that the court cannot authorize a dismissal of these claims because to do so would mean that the plaintiff was time barred because the plaintiff did not want to take any action that could have resulted in the death or danger of his family, friends, or their family by filing this report until after Homeland Security got involved. And if this court does not grant dismissal of this claim, then it would be instructing the defendants of a sexual assault claim brought by a plaintiff to threaten to kill the victim's family members, and then they would be able to get away with it. And that is most certainly this court authorizing murder. Wow. And when it came to threats, by the way, Cardell Smith swears that Combs visited him in prison on August 28th, 2024. Though that is just days before his arrest on September 16th. In fact, he claims that Combs visited him multiple times in prison and that the visitor logs and the security video will prove it. But he also claims that that evidence is being buried. So according to Cardell Smith, Combs threatened him on that day in August, saying, quote, what up, N-word? So I see you have been getting my messages and your family has too. That is good. And they can keep it that way by staying quiet. I am untouchable, N-word. And Cardell Smith even went so far as to accuse some of Combs' attorneys of helping him cover up these crimes. He says he believes attorneys from the law office of Fink Bressak and Sher Tremonte should have their licenses reviewed for possible disbarment. He wrote, it is terrible because they are hiding behind their law licenses to do these deplorable acts, and one can only say that for them to defend a rapist, thief, fraud, manipulator, extortionist, sadist, fake gangster, such as Sean Combs, and get a paycheck for it, and do it with a straight face, and then sleep at night.
This dude calls somebody a rapist when he locked up for serial rape. It's crazy work.
Well, it makes them just as worse as their client, and it is deplorable. And I reject every single word they have said and every statement they have made in their motion to dismiss because they are liars and just wrong and misusing the laws to lie to this court and help Mr. Sean Combs get away with his rape. Attorneys on behalf of Sean Combs have filed multiple documents that call Cardell Smith's assertions transparently false, stating in a filing once again, plaintiff seeks to persuade this court that he is the subject of an ever-growing conspiracy to frame him and cover up an alleged assault. The lawyers allege that affidavits, transcripts, other exhibits reportedly from people with connections to Combs are just fake documents. For example, one of the documents names Catherine Preston as defendant's agent, but according to Combs' attorneys, Catherine Preston is an intimate associate of plaintiff, whom plaintiff refers to as his wife. They also point out that, quote, The additions to the proposed response are elaborations on plaintiff's conspiratorial narrative, including the claim that defendant, again Sean Combs, must have had plaintiff's mother killed because the coroner listed her cause of death as undetermined. And they end by saying that even if every single claim that Cardella Smith was making in his amended response was true, his claim is time barred by the statute of limitations, and therefore all of this is moot. Now, so far, no word from the judge on whether Cardella Smith's amended response will be accepted by the court or not, but should be interesting to see. And in the meantime, Combs' legal team is also asking the court to sanction Cardella Smith for his frivolous lawsuits, for what they claim are frivolous lawsuits, and they want to keep him from filing any more of them. They state this is not plaintiff's first attempt at a shakedown, and unless this court intervenes, it will not be his last. Plaintiff has a lengthy history of filing frivolous lawsuits in this district and beyond. A PACER search reveals that plaintiff appears on the caption in 173 lawsuits and appeals in the Sixth Circuit and its district courts. The overwhelming majority, if not all, of plaintiff's cases have been dismissed as meritless. Still, he has continued filing. Numerous judges have admonished plaintiff to stop litigating. Plaintiff has ignored them. But we shall see if this is another case that gets thrown out, or maybe it will progress. Time will tell. That's all we have for you right now here on Sidebar. Everybody, thank you.
Done with Jay-Z. Hey guys, what's going on? Listen, if your name is Tony Busby, you are not done with Jay-Z. You literally said, you better get over here. Y'all, the battle between Tony Busby and Jay-Z, or should I say Rock Nation, is heating up. Do you know that Tony Busby has just filed a second lawsuit? Yes, a second lawsuit. And this time he's alleging bribery. Now listen, Rock Nation, Marcy Croft, the lawyer in Louisiana, Quinn and Manuel are all being dragged into this. And I gotta ask, did Jay-Z know what he was doing when he literally did a scorched earth policy with Tony Busby? Now hear me out. I know y'all gonna drag me, and I get it. If Jay-Z's innocent, I would go scorched earth too. But I really thought that he would destroy Busby and roll over. Busby's saying he's got proof. Busby's saying he's got evidence. And they have been hit. Rock Nation, Quinn Emanuel, Jay-Z have been hit with a second lawsuit. And they are giving up names. Now, I know this seems like a high-powered stake of he said, she said. But no matter what side you're on, you got to admit that Jay-Z won the PR war. I'm sorry, the PR battle. However, Tony Busby seemed to have won the legal war because the only people's motions that are sticking are Tony Busby's. And the only people that seem to be coming out with any proof is Tony Busby. Now, that could change, but keep that in mind as you listen to what everybody is saying. Because, listen. The second case has been filed by an individual alleging that law firm Quinn Emanuel and lawyer Marcy Croft, that lawyer Marcy Croft is part of Rock Nation's legal team. Okay? Not their in-house corporate counsel, but one of their legal partners. It needs to be said. They oversaw and coordinated a scheme to solicit and pay individuals to sue Tony Busby's law firm. Now, this is eerily familiar to the case that was filed last month. Jose Maldonado claims he was contacted by investigators working for Rock Nation who pretended to be federal agents. Might I not remind you, that is a crime. That is a federal crime. A federal crime. Again, were they so sloppy and thought literally Tony Busby was just some ambulance chaser? No shade if you are, baby. Justice is justice. But at the end of the day, are you forgetting that Tony Busby is one of the best trial attorneys in the U.S.? And on top of that, I think he won the highest jury award in 2024. They said he claims he was contacted by investigators working for Rock Nation who pretended to be federal agents. After confirming that he was a former client of the Busby law firm, he alleges the investigators encouraged him to sue the firm and offered him money to do so. Now, they are saying that they have actual evidence. I wouldn't be surprised if that call was taped. Tony Busby's law firm is currently pursuing, as you guys know, aggressive stuff with Jay-Z, Diddy. That's why this all started. Investigators are said to have confirmed they were being paid by Rock Nation and were sending all cases they collected to lawyer Marcy Croft. They also bragged that the lawsuits that would result would be in the press. Marcy Croft has for many years worked closely with Quinn Emanuel Law Firm. Rock Nation is a client of their firm. Tony Busby even posted an Instagram story, not story, but a post about what was actually going on. And he pulled up the receipts. Interesting enough, it looks like the investigators that were going out and asking people, hey, you want to sue? You want to sue? You want to sue? Yeah, it looks like it's the same firm that Diddy is also using. Okay. Also, I need to point out that, and this is very, very important to point out, it is illegal to solicit people for mess like that. This is literally bribery, intimidation, harassment. It is the defamation they speak of. And I just got to say this. We'll see what happens in the future, but it looked like everything that Rock Nation said Tony Busby was doing, Tony Busby is saying he has receipts showing that they were doing the same, if not worse. Again, the same, if not worse. So where do we leave this, right? Well, let's get into this, okay? Tony Busby is letting the law handle this. However, it needs to be noted that in this whole thing about what's fair and what's not fair, this started off as a Jane Doe suit. Instead of attacking the victim and her credibility and signing a sworn affidavit, just said, under penalty of perjury that he didn't do it, you start attacking a lawyer and you're allegedly having people go door to door trying to dig up dirt and shake trees. Yeah. Tony Busby said, the conduct alleged by Mr. Maldonado is illegal and unethical. He said in a statement to Digital Music News, we know investigators have gone all over the United States illegally contacting our former clients to try to entice them with money to sue our firm. According to Mr. Maldonado, we now know who is behind this effort. We will not be intimidated nor deterred in our important work. I expect more lawsuits will follow as we continue to hear former clients report this egregious conduct. Another Busby client filed a lawsuit similar in December against Quinn Emanuel and the Mississippi attorney for a bribery solicitation and civil conspiracy. The lawsuit included a transcript and an alleged conversation in which people impersonating, again, federal investigators solicited a man to file a legal malpractice suit against Tony Busby and his law firm. You guys, what is going on? Again, we do not know if what Tony Busby is saying is true. We do not know if this gentleman Maldonado is saying is true. We also don't even know if what Jay-Z is saying is true, or Quinn Emanuel, or this girl Marcy Croft. But we cannot escape the fact that they're saying they weren't behind it. But Tony Busby went after Jay-Z, right? They attacked the lawyer, not the client, not the issues, not the facts. But then to make it even crazier, when they hit back, not only did they get a flurry of motions to the court, oh, Your Honor, we want to dismiss, we want this, we want preservation of evidence. And then the judge said, calm yourself. We're not doing that. You can file a motion to dismiss, but we're going to drag it out until March. You're on our clock, right? So everything that they said, the judge kind of said, yeah, get out of here, and actually gave what was really going on. But can we also not forget that even after that happened, on the same day, there were 3 lawsuits filed against Tony Busby, 2 for people in Louisiana suing him for the exact reason, and an ex-girlfriend that said something happened. Busby denied everything, and then they released his drunk driving picture of him with a puffy face. That was a bad picture. I got a question. Is Tony Busby, I'll get to that later. Anyway, I'm just saying, Tony Busby's natural hair, let's just keep going. I'll talk about that on the live. But listen, all jokes aside, right? All jokes aside, at the end of the day, what they did looked like a concerted effort. It looked like they tried to throw everything in the kitchen sink at him and crush him all on the same day. But in being that aggressive and bold, they kind of underlined and highlighted what Tony Busby was saying. This isn't organic. This wasn't just people. You guys seem to have helped orchestrated or facilitated this sandstorm to hit him all in one day. And now that you're being called out on it, y'all literally got the nerve to be like, it's just a coincidence. We have nothing to do with it. Come on now. Let's be serious. Let's call a spade a spade. Anyway, listen, we're going to have to see what the judges rule in this, but neither party is backing down. And I hope, for everybody's sake involved, that in their rush to destroy someone they thought was beneath them, that they didn't actually overstep their own line that they drew in the stand. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. Anyway, y'all, let me know what you think of that. Hey, what's up, guys? How y'all doing today? Well, baby, if your name is Jay-Z, you are announcing $1 billion move. Unfortunately, people said this is nothing but a strategic and desperate play to deflect and associate yourself with very powerful people, including trying to hide behind the Obama name. Y'all, let's get into this because your girl is sitting there waiting and watching and look at everybody's move. Now, if you guys don't know, Jay-Z has been accused of Diddy-like things. He only has one accuser. He says it's not true. He is currently in a legal war with Tony Busby to get the case thrown out. Spoiler alert, the case ain't getting thrown out, but Jay-Z, that's not stopping him from trying. Jay-Z went 0 dark 30, okay? And he's been trying to change the narrative and look like what is going on is not affecting him business-wise. He announced this huge strategic $1 billion merger that people that don't know anything about equity, private equity, anything like that, it's like, oh my God, he just made a power move. Maybe, or maybe, Tattletales, if you scratch under the surface, you see what's really going on. Y'all, let's get into this because your girl is going to find out what's really going on. Listen, let's just get into this, right? This merger that everybody's going on and on about, right? Much like when he got granted leave to file a motion to dismiss, which is his constitutional right and does not mean it's going to be granted. The judge just said, okay, you can do it and we'll do it on our time frame. This new merger he's talking about feels less like a growth play and more like strategic damage control. It looks like Jay-Z may be positioning assets into safer hands, knowing the legal storm around Diddy could literally take him under or at least splash on him. Hey guys, really quick, I just want you to know I got written up in the Hollywood Reporter for saying that TV is over and YouTube is the new infotainment investigative news. You guys, it was written by the great Shirley Halperin, one of the best writers out there, please go give it a read. I would really appreciate the support. Also, don't forget, we are going to have a Diddy live watch party for the Diddy documentary to actually see what's going on. All right, let's get back to the mess, because Jay-Z think he's slick, but baby, we slicker. Let's go. Again, we're going to have to keep our eyes open for any unusual transactions within Marcy Penn's portfolio over the next 12 months. If you guys don't know what I'm talking about, right? If you guys don't know what I'm talking about, Jay-Z's Marcy Ventures, that's his private equity fund, has bolstered its black buying power. Notice he wants us to know his black buying power, which is always a good thing, don't get me wrong, by merging with the investment arm of Pendulum Holdings, which is founded by former Barack Obama advisor Robbie Robinson. And a move that has sent ripples through the investment world. The strategic alliance creates a powerhouse with over $1 billion in assets, according to a report from Black Enterprise. The merger between Marcy Ventures and Pendulum Holdings into Marcy Penn is poised to make significant investments in diverse and promising ventures. Founded in 2018 by Jay-Z, along with Jay Brown and Larry Marcus, MVP has established itself as a prominent player in the venture capital area. Now, I'm reading this because this is the good news that everybody's running with. Just give me a second and we go and dig deeper, I promise. The firm focuses on early stage investments in companies with strong brand values, high customer satisfaction, and demonstrable growth potential. MVP's portfolio boasts successful investments in companies like Partake Foods, known for its allergy-friendly snacks, and Savage X Fenty, Rihanna's inclusive lingerie line. Pendulum Holdings, a focus on diverse investments, focuses on diverse investments. It was founded by Robbie and Dorita Robinson, brings a unique perspective to the merger. Robbie Robinson's background as a financial advisor to Barack Obama, coupled with Dorita's expertise, has shaped Pendulum's investment strategy. The firm prioritizes investments in companies that align with its values of diversity, equity, and inclusion. Pendulum's portfolio includes investments in companies by Fly by Jing. Oh, I actually eat that. And Saltbox, a co-working warehouse space provider. Marcy Penn, to provide the blueprint to success for entrepreneurs. Marcy Penn will continue to invest in companies across various sectors with a focus on those that demonstrate strong growth potential. Okay, y'all got it? That was the spin that every single body fell for. However, the press release frames this merger as a power move, boosting Black buying power and solidifying a $1 billion asset powerhouse. Again, they're leaning heavily in that press release on diversity, equity, inclusion, that also known as DEI language, which, while this is always a great thing, can often be a deflection tactic when there's an underlying financial and legal vulnerabilities. Now, listen, just hear me out. Let me cook, because I am teaching you the art of decoding PR spin and BS. So what's beneath the surface? Well, one, we have to look at the timing. Why now? This is suspect. Y'all know that Jay-Z's under so much scrutiny because of his, we can't call it friendship, alliance, knowing, being by Diddy. During not only the federal investigation, you don't know what's going to come up in the co-conspirator. I'm not saying he is, but you don't know. But also in that lawsuit with Tony Busby. It's common when powerful figures are under legal heat. It's common to shift assets, restructure, or merge to create legal separation or muddy ownership lines. Now, this merging of Pendulum Holdings, run by Robbie Robinson and Obama Insider, looks to me, this is all my opinion, to be a defensive play. Because you're associating with political allies and respected figures, it provides a layer of credibility and insulation if legal action escalates. The over 1 billion line, you got to ask, is this fluff or real assets? Now, the article keeps bringing up the fact or boasting of the combined asset total of over 1 billion, but there's no concrete breakdown given. This is very important. Again, are these liquid assets or inflated valuations of startup stakes? Hedge funds and private equity firms often cite assets under management, that's AUM, which can be highly speculative if much of it sits in early stage high-risk ventures. So for instance, if Savage by Fenty or Partake Foods valuations dip, the billion-dollar figure could shrink fast. Without hard asset details, this could just all be window dressing because he needs to make it look like there's still a safe bet. Again, pivoting to diversity, and inclusion, right? Again, you got to access this deflection. Marcy Penn is putting heavy emphasis on investments in diverse and inclusive businesses. Now, again, why this is so important, as a Black woman, I think it's super important. This narrative they're trying to push conveniently shifts focus away from scrutiny over whether Marcy Ventures or Jay-Z's dealings are being probed by the feds. Pendulum Holdings' role in DI-focused business is great for optics. But is this merger protecting Jay-Z's financial interests under the cover of social good? It's a clever hedge against bad press while also securing your assets because they are taken out of your hands. Now, we'll get back to that, but let's talk about the Obama connection. Again, is this more protective shielding? Robbie Robinson's involvement offers a political buffer. If Jay-Z anticipates legal trouble, embedding himself in partnerships with Obama's financial advisor may serve as PR armor. Robinson's reputation could also dissuade regulatory or prosecutorial aggression and could signal, right? Subtly signaling that coming for Jay-Z is coming for respected institutions. Again, however, this alliance might overcompensate, suggesting Jay-Z feels his walls are closing in. Now, these are the possible signs of trouble. Just hear me out. Again, my job is to decode past the BS and something to look out for. One, if anybody knows anything about private equity finance business, there is a lack of specific deal terms in this whole announcement. Notice how the absence of any details regarding how much equity was exchanged or capital injected. The vagueness often indicates either uneven stakes or hidden urgency to finalize a merger without publicizing full terms. Also, where's Jay-Z's direct quote? Usually in big wins, like they're trying to present this, right? The primary figure, Jay-Z, would issue a personal statement. His absence from this commentary hints that he may be distancing himself or downplaying the investment. Again, what do we need to watch for? Asset shifts or new shell companies. If Marcy Penn divides its portfolio or starts rebranding investments, it could be a sign of asset shielding. We need to watch for in the coming months sudden liquidations or quiet sell-offs. If smaller companies in their portfolio suddenly sell stakes or change leadership, that could mean they're preparing for legal costs or fines. And also, political figures speaking out. If any prominent figures publicly defend Jay-Z or downplay investigation, that's a clue that this merger is more about survival than expansion. Again, you guys, in any other time, we would say, congratulations, Mr. Carter, right? And again, congratulations might still be in due. But I think this move raises a lot of questions for its timing and the way, in my opinion, hidden under these blaring headlines is Jay-Z trying to move assets or shield assets or protect assets. Again, we'll keep an eye on it to see how it plays out. But again, what are you shielding? What are you moving around? What storm do you know is coming to either you or Rock Nation that you're preparing for? Or maybe we can take the headline at face value. I don't know, guys. Let me know.
Give me 1 second.
To dig. Members of Diddy's inner circle are allegedly speaking out in this new, allegedly scathing documentary that's coming out very, very soon. This is crazy.
B-A-S-C-A-L. You are now rocking with that dude Pascal.
What's up? We got something new. Yes, we're back on the Diddler train just for a second, and there's some new updates. Allegedly, there are members of Diddy's inner circle that are coming out and speaking out in this new documentary that's going to be on Peacock a little bit later on this month. And they have some very interesting things to say about Diddy and I guess his ways of getting things done, if you get what I'm saying, in his house and elsewhere, studios and elsewhere. So this is very, very interesting, guys. We got to take a look at this quickly. But again, we already know that Diddy's looking at some serious, serious allegations, not only just federally, but also civilly. There's a lot of stuff going on. Obviously, we already know that Jay-Z's been thrown into the mix a little bit, and he is literally fighting tooth and nail to I guess regain innocence and of course get that particular Jane Doe lawsuit thrown out the way. But of course, that's a whole other conversation in itself. So let's get into this article here. All right. So it says here, something is not right. This is what one of the members of Diddy's inner circle said in a new documentary that's coming out. And I guess this trailer came out first. And, of course, I'm sure you can find it on YouTube and whatnot. But again, this is going to be on Peacock in the middle of this month. I think it's January 14th to be exact. So this is very interesting to say the least. But it says members of Diddy's inner circle discuss their experiences with the embattled music mogul and the herring allegations, because we got to use these code words, against him in this new trailer for the upcoming Diddy documentary. And it's called Diddy, The Making of a Bad Boy. Not like making of a band, but you see what I'm saying. You see what they did there. And that's premiering on January 14th on Peacock. The 90-minute film is set to dig into Combs' entire life and career, which they all have done that. We've seen plenty of documentaries lately, from TMZ's docuseries and then some, which is like The Downfall of Diddy. A lot of titles have been The Downfall of Diddy, where they give the whole breakdown of his life from his, when he was a kid to now, right? To the actual downfall of Diddy. But let's continue on, okay? So this is going to dig into his entire life, his career, featuring interviews with a childhood friend, a former bodyguard, which I'm thinking is Gene Deal, but I could be wrong, okay? And a Making the Band winner. Yes, even we've all heard names and people that have been doing a lot of interviews as of late since his arrest. So it's safe to say, it's fair to assume it's going to be Gene Deal and maybe some of these other people that have been speaking out on the YouTubes quite a bit. But anything's possible, right? Anything's definitely possible. All right. But here it is. Here's some more. Okay. It says, as well as never before seen footage of Diddy partying at home and in the studio. Now, again, him partying doesn't mean it's a freak off. Let me make that abundantly clear. It could just be him kicking it. And in the studio, maybe, smoking some trees, you know what I mean? Anything's possible here, right? But the making of a bad boy will also include the first interview with musician producer Al B. Sure about Combs' relationship to Kim Porter. So maybe he'll finally, maybe they'll kind of put to rest about that book, put to rest about him going into a coma. Will he actually speak out and say, yeah, he's the one who put me in the coma and I got proof? That's something I'm very curious about as well. And of course, any of these other rumors that have been floating around about Kim Porter and Sean Combs' relationship, right? Hopefully he can kind of give us more insight about that as well. But we'll talk about that, or we'll hear about that, and I'm sure we will talk about that later on in the near future. But I'll Be Sure was signed to Uptown Records at the same time that Combs was at the same time as Combs, and of course he dated Kim Porter before, like he dated Kim Porter. Of course, they have a child together, and this all happened. And then this happened way before Diddy even walked into Kim Porter's life. Okay, something is not right with this, Shore says in a clip before a different anonymous talking head, whose voice appears to be disguised, claims, "I've been with Sean for quite a while, and I've captured a lot of moments. Anytime a studio or any room is red, he's making love, or, the SEX. He doing that spicy, funky dope loving. You know what I mean? So some of the girls who were in the room, for sure, they were littles. I got to use these code words, okay? But that is some serious allegations, especially somebody who's now being anonymous saying, I've been in the rooms. I know exactly what's going on. He liked it. From what I'm seeing lately, it's either a white party or a black party. Now we're hearing about rooms being the color red. So it does make you wonder, was this room, does he have a color coordinated scheme going on? Because that's kind of what I'm seeing right now. Also, this also makes me think of the lawsuit from Lil Rod, where Lil Rod is basically saying that he was SA'd or touched by Cuba Gooding Jr. And he has footage. He has a photo of Cuba Gooding Jr. having his arm around his back, like talking to him as they're looking at a computer. And I'm wondering, though, because if you notice in the background is red as well. Could that be that room was used for those spicy moments, or no? That's something I'm kind of curious about. All right. And of course, Mr. Combs' team has done everything to say, like, hey, this is all BS. We're going to fight this. He's never essayed anyone. He hasn't teed anyone, man or woman, adult or little. Very much a rubber stamp response. It's funny how they say, they don't respond to any of these allegations, yet they still respond to these allegations. You see what I'm saying? So it's even though it's a rubber stamp response, it's still a response. Okay. And we already know that he's being held without bail, and it's been pretty insane, to say the least. Okay, with all the allegations that keep on coming out, and more are coming, allegedly from Tony Busby's team, and then some, because there's plenty of other lawsuits and other lawyers that are getting ready to file, or they're in the middle of filing these lawsuits, civil lawsuits, for their clients as well. It's interesting. This documentary might be a shocking piece of information. And hopefully they give us something. That's the one thing I'm concerned about. Hopefully they give us something that we actually give a damn about, because there's a lot of things that we've already heard. You see what I'm saying? The internet is forever. The internet lives strong. TV is a little old. And sometimes these documentaries, they have these interviews with people, and it's like they try to make it seem like it's some bombshell piece of information when you already heard it like 2 months ago. You feel me? So I am kind of curious how they're going to do it this time, but we'll see what happens. Hopefully there's something fresh and new. Yeah, they're saying never before seen footage of him partying. It could be him drinking champagne in the studio. You see what I'm saying? Getting hype, just vibing out to music. It could literally just be that. So I'm very curious as to what kind of footage they got, because it could be, like I said, that footage could be something salacious and incriminating and smoking gun evidence type stuff, or it could just literally be him just vibing out, smoking some trees. Anything's possible. But what say you guys? Okay, what say you guys on this? Comment down below. Let me know what your thoughts are. Hit that like button down below. Don't forget to crush that subscribe button, and we'll talk soon. Be good to yourselves. Be good to one another. This is the Pascal Show. Bye.
Pascal, you are now rocking with that dude Pascal. We be going wild.
Facing another lawsuit. Hey guys, that's Murad Morali. Hopefully you guys. So it looks like Jay-Z is basically facing another lawsuit. Hey guys, that's Murad Morali. Hopefully you guys are all doing well today. Back at again, it is daily and consistent content. Comment down below and give this video a thumbs up. And let's get straight into this video where Houston Chronicles is the website. Unfortunately, guys, you have to pay to view this, and they seem to be the only ones reporting this as of right now. I have basically been able to catch what the website is saying before they took me out of it to say that I need to pay to view it. Honestly, guys, debatable topic, but articles where you have to pay to read them piss me off. I'm so sorry. I know it's debatable and it's journalism. People need to be paid. But what is journalism at this point when people are being paid and propaganda and lobbyists and etc.? Oh, Lord, I just find it so annoying. Just give me the news, bro, so I can give it to you guys. But anyways, I was able to catch what Houston Chronicles is reporting. Houston attorney Tony Busby is once again suing Jay-Z's Roc Nation, alleging that the entertainment company and others encouraged one of his former clients to sue the Busby law firm in exchange for lucrative gain. Filed last week in the Harris County District, the suit claims Roc Nation financed efforts by attorney Marcy Croft and a law firm Quinn Emanuel, Urquhart and Sullivan, LLP, to persuade Busby's former client Jose Maldonado to sue him in exchange for money. The Quinn Emanuel law firm is representing Jay-Z, formerly known as Sean Carter, in a lawsuit filed by Busby in October. Croft, a Mississippi-based attorney, has repped Roc Nation in previous lawsuits regarding prison reform, according to court records. Roc Nation have not immediately responded to a request for comment. On behalf of defendant Marcy Croft, two individuals attempted to call plaintiff Maldonado many times, the lawsuit reads. Then they went to what they believed was plaintiff's home. They actually went to his father's home as well, and they identified themselves as federal officers. When they realized they had the wrong address and the wrong house, they continued to contact plaintiff. They were pushy. So Busby really is not holding back, guys, because in the midst of defending this alleged client, Busby also filed a similar lawsuit, guys, last month against Roc Nation for allegedly conspiring with and paying former clients to sue him. The Houston attorney is currently representing over 100 clients in regards to Diddy. Remember, Busby did state that he does have recordings of whoever these people were that worked for Quinn Emanuel, Roc Nation, basically on tape saying that if you do XYZ against Busby, we will pay you XYZ. So for them to be saying that Jay-Z's been accused of extortion, you're also doing the same thing to Busby here as well. So at the same time, the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. You can't accuse one of doing XYZ, but then you're also doing the same thing as well. Doesn't add up. Doesn't make sense to me. But this is another lawsuit that Jay-Z, Roc Nation, Quinn Emanuel are facing. There are currently 3, I believe, from Busby, 2 in regards to personal extortion claims and 1 in regards to this alleged victim. Now, a lot of people I'm seeing are taking the dismissal motion being approved as a win for Jay-Z, and this is not a win for Jay-Z. I think people need to really understand this conversation. This is just 2 words, guys: standard procedure. When it comes to the courts, when it comes to the stages, one is going to apply for an approval of dismissal, and of course one is allowed to show why that should be dismissed. In order for that to be why it should be dismissed, it needs to be approved. Jay-Z is well within his rights to show the courts as to why this should be dismissed. The judge approving that is not a win for Jay-Z. That's standard procedure. That was going to be approved regardless, so that they can obviously file that motion. Then Busby responds, and then the judge looks at both parties and what they've said, and then the judge decides what goes on. This is a standard procedure. It's not a win for Jay-Z that this has been approved. I feel like people need to really read between the lines and understand the courts and understands what goes on, and that many a times dismissal motions have been approved. Not a dismissal motion being approved, sorry, but to hear why a dismissal should be approved. That motion absolutely has been approved many a times. It's a standard court procedure, guys. I want people to really understand that it's not a win for him as of right now. A win for him is Annalisa Torres looking at what he said and, this case getting dismissed. That is what he wants. That is the big win for him. Alex Spiro has been quiet the last couple of days. Thank the Lord, because I feel like there's been so many court filing reviews that we were doing in the past couple of weeks in late last year in 2024. And I'm just glad that, I get this break this first week of this month. I took it a little bit slow, give you guys a bit of a break, give myself a break, because, Busby and Spiro have both been quiet with the filings, but it looks like Busby has woken up in the new year and has filed another lawsuit. So I don't know how he has the time to do this. Evidently, he has a firm, people working for him, but it's a very busy time schedule. It's honestly a very busy time schedule. Don't understand how he has the time to do stuff like this. I honestly just have no idea. But we are facing another, God forbid, not we, but Jay-Z is facing another lawsuit, and this is about extortion. And I feel like stuff like this should definitely be focused on. Diddy is raging, guys. Are we surprised? Diddy is furious, guys, that the alleged CEO murderer Luigi Mangione is seen as a bigger star by inmates at the Brooklyn and federal prison where both are locked up, it's claimed. Diddy has been throwing tantrums over the fact that Luigi is getting all of the attention in prison and is being revered as a hero after literally murdering somebody on camera. Diddy is reportedly upset because he claims he is innocent, yet he continues getting so much hate inside the lockup whilst Luigi gets so much love. Even in prison, Diddy's ego is bigger than life, the sources added. Mangione is apparently loved by the prisoners and is not having a difficult time dealing with everything because he has gotten so much support with prisoners who have shared with him their stories of losing loved ones due to inadequate healthcare. Boom. Not to mention the fact that the prison itself faces constant allegations of inadequate healthcare to those who are locked up. Right. So, of course, he's going to be seen as a hero because he really took down somebody who has been exploiting so many people because, they have to pay for so much when it comes to healthcare. To me, it is bizarre that Americans have to pay so much for healthcare, riddled in debt. And some people can't even receive the healthcare because they can't afford it. And it's so expensive. Really and truly, all I have to do when I'm in London is phone early in the morning to a doctor. They ring me back once an appointment is set, tell them my symptoms. If it's that serious, we go in for an appointment. Medication is prescribed. After medication is prescribed, if at best, I only buy the medicine at the chemist, and that is it. If I go to accident and emergency because, I'm dealing with an emergency, God forbid, I go into the hospital at any time. I wait to be seated. Maybe it can be a long time. Sometimes if it's busy or not, doctors see me. I might get admitted. Then I get discharged free. So it's ridiculous that, there are so many people who, because they are poor or not insured or can't afford as much, they end up dying due to inadequate healthcare. It is ridiculous. This is why this man is seen as a hero to so many people in America because, he took down a CEO who's been extorting so many people. So, of course, he's going to be seen as a hero. Diddy obviously isn't because of the fact that he's beating up people left, right, center. That video alone of Cassie, his ego is so big, guys. It's honestly bigger than his forehead. And I genuinely thought that wouldn't have been possible because I don't think anything is bigger than that man's forehead. But clearly, his ego definitely is. Let me know your thoughts are, guys, when it comes to this video. Do subscribe to the channel, comment down below, and give this...
Kofi, follow me.